Chapter 169. Uncle and Nephew Standoff, Believe in Yang_4. Mo Baichuan continued, she's just trying to get my attention. That's why she's not leaving any stone unturned to approach you all. Mo Qishan let out a faint laugh, looking at Mo Baichuan up and down before speaking in a slow tone. Nephew, you're flattering yourself a bit too much. Why would Ni Yang neglect a good-looking person like herself for Mo Baichuan? Is Mo Baichuan even 1/10 as good-looking as she is? Mo Baichuan took a deep breath. Everything I said is true. Until today she tried to approach me in many ways, but I rejected all her attempts. She's a woman full of schemes. Nonsense. Mo Fuhai stood up and said, Yang is not that kind of person. Having known Ni Yang for a while, Mo Fuhai deeply acknowledged her upbringing and character. Grandfather, Uncle 6. Ni Yang's aim is simple. She wants to please you all, then marry me smoothly and become the eldest son's wife of the Mo family. You all better wake up. Mo Baichuan could hardly wait for his family members to see Ni Yang's true colors. This woman is too intimidating, to the extent where she is able to fool all the members of the Mo family. Yang is not blind, would she choose you, nephew? Mo Qishan said as he turned to look at Mo Baichuan, pointing to his own head, in beginning to suspect that there's something wrong here, and it's more than just a little. After finishing the sentence, Mo Qishan slightly leaned towards Ni Yang. Yang, don't mind him, he's not in his right mind, you just continue to help Xiao Dai with the acupuncture treatment. Okay, brother Mo? Ni Yang nodded. Seeing how close Ni Yang and Mo Qishan were made Mo Baichuan even more infuriated. Uncle 6, you'll get Xiao Dai killed by doing this. Mo Baichuan turned his head to look at Grandma Mo and Mo Fuhai. Grandfather, Grandma, please believe me, Ni Yang is just a noodle seller, how can she possibly cure Xiao Dai? Uncle 6, even if you're fooled by this woman, you can't just watch Xiao Dai walk toward the dead end. No matter how useless Mo Qishan is to the Mo family, his seniority is there. He will always be Mo Baichuan's Uncle 6. The Mo family places great emphasis on respecting the elders, and thus, Mo Baichuan can't confront Mo Qishan. He can only seek help from Mo Fuhai and Grandma Mo Qishan never found this nephew annoying before. But now he found Mo Baichuan irritating every aspect. Upon hearing this, Mo Qishan's face immediately darkened. Why can't a noodle seller have medical skills? Zhu Yuanzhang, the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty, had been a beggar and a food peddler before he ascended to the throne. Can you deny his ability to govern because of his past? Nephew, have you been feeding your textbooks to dogs? So, you've only picked up the skill to look down upon others? Ni Yang looked at Mo Qishan with surprise. Did Mo Qishan just show tough love? Surprisingly, this man is quite just. The corners of Ni Yang's mouth slowly curve into a soft arch, and her dimples appeared shallowly, like they could depress anyone beyond redemption. Mo Qishan subtly moved a little bit away, his figure blocking Mo Baichuan's view quite efficiently. So now only he could see that smile. Mo Baichuan clenched his fists. Uncle 6, you're going to regret this. Mo Qishan turned again to Ni Yang, hooking his lips. Yang, will you make me regret this? Of course not. Ni Yang answered casually, as she pierced the last golden needle into Mo Hudi's Baihui acupoint. The needle just went in and immediately turned black. At the same time, Mo Hudi, who was lying on the bed, slowly opened her eyes. Xiao Dai. Both Mo Fuhai and Grandma Mo exclaimed in unison. Grandma and Grandpa, Mo Hudi spoke in a weak voice. What happened to me? Grandma Mo was overwhelmed with joy and started to cry. It's alright Xiao Dai, you're alright now. Mo Baichuan was stunned. Was this a coincidence or just pure luck? Aside from her beauty, how could Ni Yang possibly save people's lives? Mo Qishan glanced at Mo Baichuan, then walked over to Ni Yang. Yang, thank you. You're welcome. Ni Yang gave the prescription she had written to Mo Baichuan. According to this prescription, prepare the medicine once a day, continuous for 3 months, Xiao Dai will be fully healed. Mo Qishan took the prescription. Okay. Grandma Mo walked over, holding Ni Yang's hand. She was so overwhelmed with emotions that she didn't know what she was supposed to say. Mo Qishan gently joked, Mom, you're going to scare Yang. I'm just too happy, too excited. Grandma Mo choked back her tears. Little divine Dr. Yang, I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Chapter 170. Uncle and Nephew Standoff, Believe in Yang_5. Ni Yang smiled slightly. Madam, you don't need to do this, it's all part of a doctor's duty. Mo Baichuan stood by with a very complicated look on his face. Now he finally understood that Ni Yang's medical skills were genuine. Her desire to be close to him was also real. Perhaps, from the very beginning, she was seeking an opportunity through curing Mo Hudi to gain his recognition. This game she was playing, it was much bigger than he thought. Old Madame Mo turned her gaze to Mo Baichuan. Chuan, aren't you going to apologize to Yang? I will never apologize to this kind of woman. Mo Baichuan left angrily after giving Yang a glance. On the side, Mo Kishin's eyes flashed dangerously, but it disappeared quickly. Once she confirmed that Mo Hudi was out of danger, Yang left a small bottle of pills and proposed to leave. Old Madame Mo said, I will have the driver take you. Mo Chishin picked up his coat with a smile, I will take Yang home. Yang smiled and said, then I have to trouble brother Mo. This was her chance to thank Mo Chishin alone. To thank him for his trust and protection. Mo Baichuan looked at Yang, and all that was left in his eyes were 4 words, putting on a show. She was deliberately getting close to Mo Chishin just to make him jealous. Otherwise she would have never taken an interest in Mo Chishin, a man who has never achieved anything. Mo Chishin, who had never achieved anything and also had simple thinking, was being used by Yang. Although he wanted to pull Mo Chishin out of the mud, if Mo Chishin didn't want to stand up but instead chose to roll in the mud, it wasn't surprising that Zhao Jingrong had broken off their engagement. He deserved it. Mo Chishin and Yang walked shoulder to shoulder towards the downstairs, followed by old Madame Mo and Mo Fuhai. As they walked down the stairs, they saw the elegantly dressed Zheng Xianjing walking in from the outside. As soon as Zheng Xianjing saw Yang, her smile froze on her face, followed by an expression of thick sarcasm. How dare Yang, who nearly killed Mo Hudi, show her face here? Didn't she have any shame? Zheng Xianjing steadied her heart and walked up to the group, greeting them politely, Grandfather Mo, Grandma Mo, 6th Uncle Mo. When old Madame Mo saw Zheng Xianjing, her smile was nowhere to be seen, she only curtly replied, Xianjing is here. If it weren't for Zheng Xianjing's meddling 3 days ago, Mo Hudi wouldn't have suffered, nor come close to death. What on earth is going on? Zheng Xianjing began to sweat nervously. By all rights, she had saved Mo Hudi's life. Old Madame Mo shouldn't react this way. What went wrong? Just yesterday afternoon, old Madame Mo had sent her a thank you gift. No, she had to shift the blame onto Yang. Zheng Xianjing looked at Yang and laughed. Little divine doctor, why have you come again? Do you think Grandfather Mo and Grandma Mo are easy to fool? Do you know 3 days ago you nearly killed Xiaodai? If not for her timely intervention, Mo Hudi would already be dead. Old Madame Mo turned her gaze to Zheng Xianjing. Xianjing, some issues should be left alone after a new chapter has begun. I didn't want to bring this up, but since you did, it's necessary that I say this. You who don't even understand the basic medical knowledge should refrain from acting as if you know everything. Otherwise, innocent people will be affected. Also, Yang is now a benefactor to our Mo family, so I hope you show her more respect in the future. If it wasn't for the fact that Zheng Xianjing was Zheng's granddaughter, old Madame Mo would definitely have held her responsible. Upon hearing this, Zheng Xianjing visibly panicked. What did old Madame Mo mean? What did she mean by implicating innocent people? What did she mean by Yang being the benefactor of the Mo family? After a while, Zheng Xianjing finally found her voice. Grandma Mo, what happened to Xiaodai? Old Madame Mo snorted coldly. Thanks to you, Xiaodai hasn't died yet. Having said that, old Madame Mo walked right past Zheng Xianjing. Zheng Xianjing's face turned pale. What on earth had happened? Having seen Yang to the door, Mo Chishin said, Okay Dad, Mom, you can go back to your room now. I'll take care of Yang. After Mo Fuhai and old Madame Mo advised them to be careful, they turned and went back to their room. In a blink of an eye, only Mo Chishin and Yang remained in the air. Mo Chishin then said, Yang, wait for me here for a moment while I fetch the car. Chapter 171. Uncle and Nephew Standoff Believe in Yang_6. Okay. Yang nodded. Shortly after, Mo Chishin pushed over a Phoenix-branded bicycle. Yang, don't look at me as Mo Baichuan's uncle. Actually, in everyone's eyes, I'm nothing but a wastrel who only knows indulgences, resented by all for being mediocre. Every person in my family is more accomplished than me. Even my fiancé has broken off our engagement because of this. I don't even have my own car at home. If you mind, I can drive one of the family's cars. Yang leaned to sit on the bike's back seat, smiling. It's alright, a bicycle is pretty good. After her rebirth, she had cycled almost daily, yet had never tried the back seat. Yang, Mo Chishin continued, knowing that I'm a wastrel despised by everyone, would you still be willing to be friends with me? And I Yang slightly smiled, responding, why wouldn't I? I'm friends with you because of who you are, not your status. When she first met Mo Chishan, and I Yang didn't know about his status. Status is not important. All she needed to know was that Mo Chishan was a person worth trusting. Hearing this, Mo Chishan's mouth traced into a smile. Then let's get going. Hold on tight, Yang Yang. The moment he finished speaking, Mo Chishan pedaled forward, and the bicycle shot off like an arrow that left the bowstring. And I Yang never knew that a bicycle could be ridden so fast, and she was so frightened that she tightly clutched the corner of Mo Chishan's clothes. There was a gust of fresh wind carrying a mild scent of tobacco. In a short while they reached Jianghu village. The bike was going too fast. Before the villagers could make out who was on the back seat, the bike had already disappeared from their sight. Wasn't that Yang Yang just now? It looked a bit like her. Could the guy pedaling the bike be Yang Yang's boyfriend? He looks rather handsome. That lad does indeed seem spirited, but he was riding so fast I didn't get a good look. I was thinking of introducing Yang Yang to my nephew last time, but it looks like I won't get the chance now. I was planning to introduce Yang Yang to my baby brother. Such a pity. Although the relationships between men and women at that time were not completely liberal, it was still acceptable for boyfriends and girlfriends to date normally, as long as they weren't behaving indecently and kissing or cuddling in public places. As they approached the Ni family's house, Mo Chishan stopped the bike. Yang Yang, you should hurry home. In response, Ni Yang said, let's ride over and you can have a cup of tea before leaving. Aren't you scared your mom will misunderstand? Mo Chishan looked at her surprisingly. Happiness came so fast that he was a bit overwhelmed. Ni Yang laughed, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. What's so frightening about this? So Mo Chishan didn't refuse any further and rode the bike in. Ni Tsuehua and Ni Qinggui were having a conversation in the courtyard. Seeing someone coming, they both looked in that direction. Ni Chenggui's first reaction was, my goodness, this lad is handsome. He looked like an attractive actor fresh off the TV screens. Xiaoma. Ni Tsuehua looked surprised at Mo Chishan. Although she had only met Mo Chishan once, she deeply remembered his face because at that time, she had thought of taking Mo Chishan as her son-in-law. Hello, Auntie. Mo Chishan greeted politely. Ni Yang hopped off the back seat of the bike. Brother Mo, this is Auntie Ni. Hello, Auntie Ni. Ni Qinggui smiled. Hello. Xiaoma, come on in and sit. Ni Tsuehua enthusiastically ushered Mo Chishan into the living room. Ni Yang took out some snacks from her house to entertain Mo Chishan. Brother Mo, don't be shy, eat whatever you want. Looking at the table full of snacks, Mo Chishan was indeed not shy and immediately peeled a piece of candy. It was quite sweet. Brother Mo, have some tea. Ni Yang then handed over a hot cup of tea. Mo Chishan stood up immediately, accepting the cup with both hands. Yang Yang, you don't need to go through all the trouble, I'll be leaving shortly. Ni Yang smiled. It's okay, it's just a cup of tea. Mo Chishan took a cautious sip of the green tea. The tea had a strong aroma, yet it was sweet. The taste was excellent. A while later, a bang-bang sound came through the air. Mo Chishan looked up in confusion. What's that noise? Ni Yang explained, that's my mom pounding aloe vera. Pounding aloe vera? Ni Yang laughed. Come on, brother Mo, let me show you. Mo Chishan followed Ni Yang's steps into the courtyard. There they saw Ni Tsuehua holding a large mallet, pounding something in a stone mortar. Inside the mortar was a pale green transparent liquid, emitting a faint fragrance. Chapter 172. Uncle and Nephew Standoff, Believe in Yang Yang _7 Ni Tsuehua is drenched in sweat. Mo Chishan rolls up his sleeves, revealing a robust and powerful wrist, approaches Ni Tsuehua. Auntie, let me do it. Ni Tsuehua paused for a moment, then smiled. No need, you're our guest. We can't have you do this. Mo Chishan said, it's fine, Auntie, I needed some exercise anyway. Without waiting for Tsuehua to respond, he grabs the pestle from her and starts pounding. The strength of a man was far greater than that of a woman. The bulky wooden pestle seemed weightless in Mo Chishan's hands. It seems that having a man in the house does have its advantages. Ni Tsuehua watches the young man before her, a satisfied expression in her eyes. Yang Yang, you stay here and chat with Xiaoma, he'll go check on Yun Yun. Alright Mum, you go. Ni Yang nods in agreement. Mo Chishan looks up at Ni Yang. Yang Yang, what are you using this mashed aloe for? Ni Yang responds, for skincare products. Skincare products? Mo Chishan pondered for a moment, then continued, so do you do this every day? And Yang nods, almost. Sounds exhausting. Manual labor like this isn't suited for a girl like you, Imo-chishin added. Have you ever considered buying a blender? It could mash up all these aloes directly. And Yang of course had thought about this before. Currently the market for aloe vera gel and facial cleanser was booming. Fresh aloe juice was needed almost every day. If she continued to manually mash the aloes, it would not only drain her physical strength but also waste time. However, because technology at this time was not well developed, many advanced machines needed to be imported from abroad. Imported products were not only expensive but also scarce. Typically, customers had to pre-order from the seller. Moreover, the inconvenient transportation and poor economy significantly restricted the circulation of goods. It was not easy for ordinary people to purchase everyday goods. Even for Yang, she had yet to find a way to buy a blender. Imo-chishin seemed to understand Yang's predicament. He then said, I happen to have a friend who deals with these imported machines. I can ask him for you. Really? Yang looked up in surprise, a flicker of joy in her eyes. Yes. Imo-chishin nodded. Why would I lie to you? Thank you so much, brother Imo. Yang said if indeed Imo-chishin could help her find a solution, it would be a massive help for her. Imo-chishin laughed and replied, it's just a matter of a phone call. No need to thank me. Imo-chishin pounded the aloe non-stop without appearing to get tired. Even after a long period there wasn't a single drop of sweat on his forehead. Yang tried to take over but was refused by Imo-chishin. He couldn't possibly stand by while a frail girl did such heavy work. His hands gripped the wooden pestle. Due to his excessive force, the veins on the back of his hands stood out. His hands were well proportioned and muscular, any hand fetishist's dream. In a short while the aloe was pounded into a thick paste. Yang began to laugh. Brother Imo, that's enough. That's enough? Imo-chishin looked stunned. He thought he was supposed to continue until nightfall. If he had known this he would have pounded slower. Imo-chishin puts down the pestle. Are you sure this is enough? Yes. Yang nods. It's enough, thank you for your hard work today, brother Imo. Imo-chishin smiles, saying, it wasn't tiring at all, consider it my daily workout. It was already in the afternoon. After resting at the Ni family residence for a bit, Imo-chishin decided to take his leave. Yang said, it's already late, why don't you stay for dinner, brother Imo? Despite his desire to stay, Imo-chishin refused diplomatically. How could he impose himself on a family he had visited for only the second time? What if he left a frivolous impression on Yang and Tsuehua? He wanted to be perceived as a well-mannered young man. Imo-chishin was also a pragmatic person. On his way home he stopped by the village's local store and bought some cigarettes and candies. These items altogether cost him 50 yuan, which made the store owner grin from ear to ear. 50 yuan. Normally it would take him 10 days to sell this much. This young man was incredibly generous, like the god of wealth reincarnated. Young man, you seem unfamiliar. Are you related to someone in the village? The store owner asked. Old man, I'm a friend of Yang. The store owner nods his head. Oh, you're a friend of Yang. Wait a minute, young man. With a puzzled expression, Imo-chishin pauses. The store owner grabbed a handful of candies and shoved them into Imo-chishin's hands. Yang is a good girl who has been very helpful to all of us. If he had known earlier that this young man was a friend of Yang, he would have given him a discount. After leaving the store, if Imo-chishin saw a man he would offer a cigarette. If he encountered a woman or a child he would give out candies. All along the way, he gained praises from the villagers. A few children recognized Imo-chishin. Brother Imo, we remember you. Are you here to see sister Yang? Imo-chishin squats down and ruffles their hair. I remember you too. You're Penghu, Xiaohua and Gooden, right? Yes. Brother Imo, you're so smart. Hence, besides the beautiful sister Yang, a handsome brother Imo was added into the children's hearts. After Imo Hudi was out of danger, Imo Fuhai and Madame Imo finally found some time to visit Li Xianxian in the hospital. However, the elderly couple didn't manage to see Li Xianxian. They only saw the police officers standing guard outside the ICU ward. Li Xianxian was in critical condition due to her deep wounds. Imo Fuhai approaches one of the officers. Officer, how is the investigation into the divine doctor of Jiangnan going? Our Xiaodai had no grievance with him. He couldn't possibly harm Xiaodai without a reason. There must be someone behind all of this. Chapter 173, Mr. Mog, humble and mysterious, invites guests to dinner. 1 Imo Fuhai was no fool. He knew that there were still many twists and turns to this issue that needed to be unraveled. They had never seen the divine doctor from Jiangnan. It was impossible for him to deliberately prescribe the wrong medication to Emo Hudi. Moreover, the divine doctor had no reason to ruin his lifelong reputation. After all, the title of divine doctor is not easily attained in a short time, and his current honor was hard-won. The only person related to the whole incident about Emo Hudi was Li Xianxian. Emo Fuhai couldn't believe that Li Xianxian had no fault in it as well. The officer looked at the file in his hands and said, "Mr. Emo, don't worry, we will thoroughly investigate this matter. According to our current investigation, the suspect's full name is Fang Zhizhong from Dongwu City, and he's 61 years old this year." Fang Zhizhong? At these words, both Mrs. Emo and Emo Fuhai were stunned. Mrs. Emo suddenly grabbed the officer's hand, her emotions out of control. "What did you say his name is?" "Fang Zhizhong." Emo Fuhai continued, "Fang as in square, Zhi as in wisdom, and Zhong as in middle?" "Yes." Officer nodded. Suppressing the shock in his heart, Emo Fuhai asked, "Does he have any other family members?" "No." The officer shook his head. The suspect, Fang Zhizhong, had a son, but unfortunately he died in a car accident 10 years ago. "It's him." Mrs. Emo burst into tears. "It's him. He came for revenge." Emo Fuhai's expression also darkened. No wonder, no wonder." Seeing the old couple's reactions, the police asked, "What's going on?" Emo Fuhai sighed, "It's all old history. We didn't think that he would lie in wait until now because of this." Erased the story. 10 years ago on a stormy night, Emo Hudi's parents had a car crash with a black car on their way home. Emo Hudi's parents and the driver of the black car were killed on the spot. That black car driver's father was Fang Zhizhong. No wonder the divine doctor from Jiangnan refuses service to people surnamed Emo and Yang, because Emo Hudi's father's surname was Yang. No wonder the divine doctor never reveals his face. So that was the reason. After hearing this, the two officers also sighed. "Does Li Xianxian know about the grudges and grievances between Fang Zhizhong and your Emo family?" The police continued to ask. "Or does anyone else know about this?" If Li Xianxian knew about this, then it could be inferred that Li Xianxian deliberately told the Jiangnan divine doctor about it. If this is the case, then the divine doctor is the principal culprit, and Li Xianxian would be the accomplice. Emo Fuhai shook his head. "Apart from Xianxian, no one in Beijing knows about it. We moved to Beijing after the incident happened." The Emo family's ancestral home in fact was in Jiangnan too. And Li Xianxian was just a 10-year-old child at that time. How could she possibly know about these things? Most importantly, the incident was taboo in the Emo family. The people who knew about it kept it among themselves so no one would talk about it. Li Xianxian couldn't possibly foresee this. "Could it be that someone in your family talked about this?" the officer continued to ask. "That should not be it," Emo Fuhai replied. "This incident is taboo in our Mo's family. No one dares to mention it generally. With the case progression till now, it could basically be closed as malicious revenge because the only main suspect is already dead. But for the sake of caution, the police wouldn't easily close the case." Mrs. Emo clutched her face and sobbed. "We should have suspected it earlier when he said that he would not treat people with Emo and Yang surnames. We should have been on guard then. Poor Xianxian got implicated." Emo Fuhai sighed. "Xianxian, the child, wasn't at fault. The main responsibility is on us. We were careless." The police left the hospital after taking their statements. Emo Fuhai and Mrs. Emo found Li Xianxian's chief doctor. "Dr. Wang, how is Xianxian now?" Dr. Wang looked very serious. "The patient's current situation is very critical. Her will to survive is very weak. Whether she will wake up or not depends on her fate." Mrs. Emo continued, "Can we go in and see her now?" The doctor shook his head. "Not yet. She needs to be transferred to the general ward after a week. Only then can her family visit." Chapter 174, Low-Key and Mysterious Mr. Mog treating guests to a meal under. In the center of Beijing there is an upscale tea house. Many business people choose to negotiate here, and of course besides businessmen, there are also many high-ranking officials and wealthy young masters. In an antique private room, the subtle music notes and the scent of sandalwood fill the room, giving an illusion of being in an ancient time. Through the colorful beaded curtain, one can vaguely hear respectful work reports. If you listen carefully, you'll find that these voices are all speaking very good French. "Mr. Mog, at 10:30 tomorrow morning, someone will come from M country. Who do you think we should get to meet them at the airport? Also, the heads of the Li, Wang and Zhao families have all invited you to their parties. Shall we just reject them all as we have always done before?" The man lazing on the sofa has a cigarette between his fingers. The smoky haze blurs his handsome features. When he speaks, it's also in fluent French. My time is not to be spent on irrelevant people. For everything else you can handle it. By the way, I see that Mo Baichuan has been quite idle recently. Figure out some work to give him. At this, everyone looked incredulously at the man on the sofa. When did Mo Baichuan offend Mr. Mog? With Mr. Mog's status, the Mo family wouldn't even be worth mentioning in his sight. There's no need for him to go out of his way to make life difficult for a small fry like Mo Baichuan. I have to go, I have other things to attend to. The man crushes his cigarette, stands up, and heads for the exit without giving the others a chance to respond. Two foreign assistants with blonde hair and blue eyes immediately stand to see him out. Just as he's almost at the door, the man pauses as though recalling something. He looks back and says, "Oh, and get me a blender, imported, good quality." After a pause he adds, "It's for making skincare products." Skincare products? The two assistants are taken aback. When did Mr. Mogg start going into the skincare business? When do you need it? By tomorrow at the latest. The man responds, "All right." Though it's hard to import products at such short notice, especially obscure items like blenders, no one questions who Mr. Mogg is. As long as he gives the word, even the stars would be plucked from the sky and personally delivered to him. Wherever he goes, Mr. Mogg is a symbol of power. After giving these instructions, the man leaves the tea house, leaving the two assistants looking at each other in bewilderment. Zhao Jingrong, dressed flamboyantly, walks into the main hall of the tea house. Because she received reliable gossip that Mr. Mogg would be visiting the tea house today, Zhao Jingrong naturally came to accidentally bump into Mr. Mogg. With her credentials, as long as she's willing to put in the effort, and as long as Mr. Mogg isn't blind, he is sure to fall for her. Once she wins over Mr. Mogg, then she will be the most honored woman in the entire Beijing. With this thought, Zhao Jingrong lifts her chin high, her eyes filled with disdain wherever they fall. Suddenly Zhao Jingrong tenses up. The familiar figure ahead looked somewhat familiar. The first thing that meets her gaze are polished leather shoes, then tailored custom suit pants, a white shirt paired with a black suit, a very successful businessman's attire. Moving further up, there's a sexy Adam's apple, a delicate jawline, thin lips, a high and straight nose like it was carved from a knife, and the slightly uplifted phoenix eyes, filled with infinite light, are like the starry sea. There's no lack of handsome people in this circle, but ones as handsome as this man are hard to come by. Zhao Jingrong's heart skips a beat wildly, but in the next second, the admiration in her eyes is completely replaced by thick disgust. Because she suddenly recognizes that this man is none other than her ex-fiancé, Mo Qixin. What a shame, such a good-looking face, how did it end up on Mo Qixin's face? If Mo Qixin wasn't a complete loser, he might have been worthy of her. What a pity. She doesn't need to guess why Mo Qixin would show up here. He must have known that she would come here today, so he came here to wait by the rabbit's den, hoping to create an accidental meeting. Such a man is really horrifying. Isn't he done already? They're clearly divorced, yet he still wants to pester her. Just like a fly. Disgusting. Chapter 175. Mr. Mogg, humble and mysterious, invites guests to dinner. As for a lady of her caliber, how could she possibly be suitable for a good-for-nothing like Mo Qixin? Zhao Jingrong swallowed her disgust and walked straight to Mo Qixin. Mo Qixin? Yes. Mo Qixin raised an eyebrow slightly. Zhao Jingrong angrily said, Mo Qixin, what the hell do you want? Didn't I make it clear when I was at your Missouri family's place last time? We won't have any relationship in the future. Can you please be aware of your own situation? Is it fun to keep pestering me like this? Does he have no shame at all? Mo Qixin chuckled. Ma'am, it seems like you're the one who's not realizing your own situation. Is it fun to throw yourself at me like this? Throw herself at him? Would she throw herself at this loser? Zhao Jingrong snorted lightly, her eyes filled with sarcasm. I would throw myself at you? Don't daydream. If that's not the case, could you please step aside? Mo Qixin looked down on Zhao Jingrong and spoke slowly. Good dogs don't stand in the way. The last sentence, although a dirty retort, came off rather elegantly from his lips, without a hint of discord. With that, Mo Qixin pushed past Zhao Jingrong, strides towards the exit whilst taking out a handkerchief from his pocket to carefully wipe his fingers, as if they'd been dirted. Upon passing a garbage bin, he promptly threw the soiled handkerchief in. This scene had Zhao Jingrong trembling with fury. For someone so despised, how dare he treat her like this? Mo Qixin walked directly out to the tea room, pushing away a Phoenix brand bicycle and left. A bicycle? This loser isn't even ashamed of riding an old bicycle. Indeed, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Seeing this, Zhao Jingrong's eyes filled with disdain, and much of her anger dissipated. Although a bicycle is a rarity in this era, and an unattainable luxury for the average family in the wealthy circles, the cost of a bicycle is less than what they'd spend on an afternoon tea. Mo Qixin will only ever amount to riding a bicycle in this life. Second floor of the tea room. Two blonde-haired, blue-eyed men stood on the balcony. One of them exclaimed, "Why would our Mr. Mog go out on a bicycle? It just didn't fit his persona. For someone like Mr. Mog, at the very least, he should be chauffeured around in a private jet, or if not, at least a car. What the hell is with the bicycle? Who would believe that the mighty Mr. Mog's vehicle of choice would be a bicycle, if they hadn't seen it for themselves? It's truly a subversion of one's sense of reality." Another replied, "Mr. Mog keeps a low profile. I've heard even his parents and friends don't know about his achievements. My God, that's seriously low-key. Ordinary people, if they have any achievement, can't wait for everyone to know about it. But Mr. Mog, he keeps his success to himself. And I family's home. N.I. Yang's skincare products have been selling extremely well recently. N.I. Yang calculated that she had made 2,000 yuan so far from her skincare line. Adding in her previous savings and deducting daily expenses, N.I. Yang currently had a total of 4,250 yuan in her account. Just then, the voice of N.I. Tsuehua could be heard from outside. "Yang Xiaomo's here." N.I. Yang promptly put away the money. "Oh, he's here." Mo Qixin didn't arrive alone. A man who looked somewhat like a sidekick accompanied him. "Brother Mo." Mo Qixin nodded. "This is my friend Wu Darning. He's the middleman dealing with those imported mixers." "Hello, Sister Yang." Wu Darning bowed his head to N.I. Yang. "Sister Yang? Is she that old?" It felt rather awkward to be called Sister Yang by someone who looked nearly twice her age. N.I. Yang was taken aback for a moment, then said, "Hello, Mr. Wu." Wu Darning was shocked. "Sister Yang, there's no need for formalities. We're all friends here, just call me by my first name." "Call him Mr. Wu. He's afraid that Brother Six will beat him up." Mo Qixin continued, Yang, the mixer that Wu Darning brought over for you is here." "Really?" N.I. Yang was somewhat surprised. "Yep." Mo Qixin nodded. "It's in the yard right now, come and take a look." N.I. Yang followed Mo Qixin out. There was a blue farm truck parked with a grayish-green machine in the yard. The machines of this period hadn't undergone much improvement, so they were quite heavy and bulky. Chapter 176. Mr. Mog, humble and mysterious, invites guests to dinner _4. Yang, does this look okay to you?" Mo Qixin continued to ask. N.I. Yang nodded. "Yes, it's okay. Thank you, Brother Mo." Mo Qixin smiled faintly. "No need to thank me. I didn't do much." N.I. Yang turned to Wu Darning. "How much does this machine cost?" Wu Darning said, 500 yuan. 500 yuan? Is it so cheap? As far as N.I. Yang knew, ordinary color TVs in the market are selling at high prices of 1,000 to 1,500 yuan now. Regular black and white TVs are also around 500 to 600 yuan, not to mention large items like a blender. N.I. Yang had previously asked about prices from secondary dealers too, to know that the price of a blender starts from at least a 5-figure sum. And even with such a high price, it wasn't available immediately, there was a waiting time, and an uncertain one at that. This 500 yuan was beyond N.I. Yang's expectations. Seeing N.I. Yang's reaction, Wu Darning rushed to say, "Sister Yang, if you think it's expensive, we can still negotiate the price." "No, it's not that," Nayang continued. "Won't you lose money if you sell it to me for 500 yuan? Wu Darning laughed. No. How can we businessmen make a loss? Sister Yang, let me tell you the truth. This machine was previously reserved by another buyer who paid 2/3 of the deposit but later breached the contract. I don't need this machine, so I'm anxious to sell it off. If you think the price is not right, we can still negotiate." Upon hearing this, N.I. Yang nodded. No wonder it was so cheap, it was because of this reason. So it means she was quite lucky. This kind of chance is equivalent to winning a 5 million yuan lottery. N.I. Yang then said, "Wait here, I'll go get the money for you." "All right." Wu Darning nodded. After N.I. Yang left, Mo Qixin quietly gave Wu Darning a thumbs up. Wu Darning grinned sheepishly. In fact, there was no such defaulting buyer at all. And Wu Darning wasn't a trader of imported goods either. He was just delivering lines according to the script. And the director of this act was Mo Qixin. Mo Qixin knew N.I. Yang would not accept this machine for nothing, and if he tried to give her such an expensive gift, it might backfire, so he had to make up a story. The actual price of the machine was 20 times the 500 yuan. Soon Yang came out with the 500 yuan. You count. Wu Darning took the banknotes and counted them. It's all there. Sister Yang, where would you like us to put this machine? Yang thought for a moment, then said, could you please help me put it in the living room? All right. The two men got up on the truck and carried the 200-pound machine down to the living room. Thank you so much. Here, have some tea. Tsuehua brought over 2 cups of tea. Thank you, Auntie. Chishan took the cup and politely replied, no trouble at all. Wu Darning quickly added, yes, it's no trouble at all. After finishing their tea, Chishan and Wu Darning did not stay long. They quickly left the Anai family's house. This time Yang packed lots of goodies for Chishan again. She also gave quite a few to Wu Darning. Wu Darning dared not refuse, took them nervously, and as soon as he got in the car, immediately handed all the snacks back to Chishan. Even if he had 100 times the courage, he wouldn't dare to eat Quihua's food. Seeing all the snacks returned, Chishan's expression brightened slightly. The things Yang gave were only for him. An eerie silence fell in the car. Wu Darning initiated a conversation. Brother Six, our sister-in-law Six is really beautiful. Chishan narrowed his eyes, turning to look at Wu Darning. You were looking at her? Realizing the implications of his words, Wu Darning, terrified, hurriedly said, no. I wasn't. If you weren't looking at her, how would you know she's beautiful? Wu Darning, he wished he could vanish on the spot. A chilling voice came again, you won't have your bonus for this month. At this moment, Wu Darning wished he could slap himself. It's all because of your loose lips. It's all because of your loose lips. It's all because of your loose lips. On the way to the village, they didn't encounter many people. However, on their way back, they met many villagers who came to watch the commotion. There was also a group of children running after the car. The car was a rarity at this time, usually seen only in the city. The car windows were made of special material. You could see outside from the inside, but you couldn't see inside from the outside. Chapter 177. Mr. Mog, humble and mysterious, invites guests to dinner under 5. Chishan lazily leaned back in his chair, crossing his legs, slowly unwrapped a candy and popped it into his mouth. So sweet. The candy from Yang was really tasty. It was a very casual posture, but he exuded an aristocratic aura. After Chishan and Wu Darning left, Yang tried using the mixer and found that its features were really powerful. Not only could it smash things up, it also had an automatic peeling function. However, the only downside was that it was too noisy. After all, the technology wasn't as mature as in the future. A bit of noise was understandable. Overall, the 500 yuan was really well spent. No, it was more like getting more than you bargained for. Normally, 500 yuan wouldn't even be able to buy an imported mixer. Yang, is this the mixer you're talking about? Chingui walked in from outside, asked with curiosity on his face. Yang nodded. Chingui laughed and said, that Xiaomo is really impressive. He could even get an imported machine. Yang, this must be very expensive, right? Yang replied, actually not that expensive, just so happened I got a good deal. Mr. Mog's friend was in a hurry to sell it, so it only costed 500 yuan. Although 500 yuan may be equivalent to Chenghui's annual income, getting an imported machine at this price was still cheap. Following on, Chenghui said, Yang, you're so lucky. By the way, I have a few colleagues who need skincare products. Do you have any in stock now? The skincare products that Yang made were really effective. Good word spread mil by mil, 10 by 10. During this time, Chingui had already helped her sell more than 20 sets. And Yang didn't take Chingui for granted. She not only provided Chingui free skincare products but also gave her 1 yuan commission per bottle, totaling 2 yuan per set. For Chingui, this 2 yuan came incredibly easily. All she had to do was pitch the products a bit, and the skincare buyers would be immensely grateful. Now, she is really popular in her company. Chingui had always considered Yang as her lucky star. Ever since Yang moved here, her days had been increasingly prosperous. Yang said, I have 2 sets left and how many sets do you need? Chingui smiled and said, I need 5 sets, you can give me 2 first and I'll deliver them to them. Okay. Yang nodded and turned to go into the room to get the skincare products. When she went to bed at night, Yang laid in bed and thought hard. Since there's a growing market demand for her skincare products now, she has to start preparing some things. Firstly, she needed to register a trademark. Secondly, she needed to apply for production and health licenses and other documents. Lastly, she needed to research new products. Just selling facial cleanser and aloe vera gel wouldn't work. Watching the store being about to finish its renovation, these three major things had to be taken care of immediately. Otherwise, when everything piles up, there wouldn't be enough time. And Yang had always been an action-oriented person. Early the next day, she went downtown to apply for licenses. This era had few individual businesses and people's awareness of trademarks was weak. Even fewer people would apply for trademarks. It didn't require lots of applications as it does in the future, followed by lots of reviews. And Yang only spent a day to get all the licenses in order. The trademark that Yang registered was Ice Skin Jade Face. This name was common and easy to understand in this era. If put in the future, it would not be outdated and it clearly indicates that the products sold are skin-related. Having registered the trademark, Yang went back home and spent the night designing the bottle and packaging for the skincare products. If you decide to make skincare products, you must normalize the process. Yang was never a sloppy person. Yang had good hands-on skills. The things she drew were lifelike, just like pictures taken by a camera. They were just beautiful. Mom, what do you think of this bottle and packaging? Yang showed the finished design sketches to Tsuehua. Tsuehua nodded continuously. It looks good. It looks good. Tsuehua from the past never knew that her daughter was so capable. Even though she was just a junior high school graduate, she was able to read, draw, cook, and excel in medical skills. The day after she confirmed the design sketch, Yang found a factory, ordered a batch of bottles and packages and paid a 500 yuan deposit. After she left the factory, Yang paid a visit to the traditional Chinese medicine store, where she bought some Lingzhi, monkshood, Asarum seboldii, Atractylodes macrocephala, Angelica dihurica, Gastrodia alata and other Chinese medicinal materials. Chapter 178, The Low-Key and Mysterious Mr. Mogg, Treats Guests to Dinner _6. As recorded in the Compendium of Materia Medica, these herbal medicines all have excellent freckle-removing effects. That's right, the new product that Yang is launching is designed for freckle removal. Because once a woman has had a child, more or less, she will get some freckles on her face. In the future generations, those freckle-removing skincare products will be very popular. After returning home, Yang began to make her freckle-removing face cream. Yang first ground the purchased herbal medicines into powder with a blender, then added aloe juice, milk, cucumber juice and stirred it into a paste. Then she added distilled water and other secret ingredients. Only then it was finished. The final face cream was yellow-green in color, with a faint scent of herbal medicine, very refreshing and pleasant. Since Qingguo had a few faint freckles on his face, Yang gave it to him to try. Freckle removal products surely won't produce immediate results. It wasn't until the third morning that Chenggui's surprised voice came from the yard. Yang, the color of the freckles on my face has started to fade. Qingguo, in order to see the effect, intentionally left a freckle untreated. Now the color of the other freckles on his face has significantly faded, only that untreated one remained yellow-brown. Originally, Qingguo didn't think this thing could remove freckles, but he didn't expect that Yang would give him such a big surprise. Congratulations, Yang opened her mouth with a smile. No woman doesn't love beauty, so at that moment, Qingguo couldn't stop smiling. It's me who should be thanking you. After that, Qingguo asked, Yang, do you want to sell this freckle-removing face cream? Not for sale yet. Yang continued, they'll give you some samples. Distribute them to those who have bought facial cleanser and aloe gel. If they like it, they will definitely come back for more. There are very few freckle-removing products in this era, and there are even fewer with good effects. So, just by relying on Chenggui's recommendation, most people certainly wouldn't believe it. Therefore, proof was needed through actual performance. The sample bottles were small, enough for about 3 days' usage, and by the time the cream was used up and the effect was visible, everyone who had sampled it would surely want to buy more. Qingguo took the samples, nodding approvingly. Yang, you are so smart. Not only could this strategy attract many customers, but it could also win over hearts. A free bottle of freckle cream. Who wouldn't be happy? Because the freckle cream worked so well, Yang worked overtime to make plenty more. At this moment, Qingguo came in from outside. Yang, we are running out of aloe vera. Yang had indeed planted a lot of aloe vera before, but because she had been making facial cleanser and aloe gel frequently lately, there wasn't much aloe vera left in the vegetable garden. Yang thought for a moment and then said, in that case, Mom, Could you go around the village tomorrow and let them know that we're buying aloe vera? 1 cent per pound. Aloe vera is a very common plant because it has the effect of healing burns. Almost every household in Jianghu village has planted it. Moreover, aloe vera is a kind of propagating plant. Usually, after successfully planting one, it will proliferate into many more. Cuihua nodded her agreement. Okay, Yang Yang. The next day, Cuihua, holding her baby, went to the big locust tree at the center of Jianghu village. Because there was no television or mobile phones in this era, people would gather together to chat during their free time, sharing each other's gossip. Therefore, almost every village has a gathering point. When idle, the women of the village would gather and chat. Whose daughter had a bad marriage, whose son got admitted to college, which couple had a fight last night, the latest gossip could always be heard at the gathering point. And the locust tree in the center of the village was the gathering point for Jianghu village. By the time Cuihua arrived, the women were already chatting lively. A few older women were chatting fervently, while the young girls and wives listened with interest. Seeing Cuihua coming, everyone greeted her warmly. Cuihua is here. Come and sit down. These are the melon seeds roasted by my family. Have some. These are the ripe persimmons from my garden. Not only was Cuihua beautiful, but she was also very honest and never gossiped about anyone. In addition to all the help that Yang had given to the villagers, Cuihua had also become one of the most popular women among these ladies. Chapter 179. Mr. Mogg, humble and mysterious, invites guests to dinner. 7 Everyone would vent their grievances and share fresh gossip with Cuihua first because she could keep a secret and never laugh at others. After Cuihua sat down, she told everyone about Yang's plan to buy aloe vera. Everyone was stunned when they heard it. Yuans per kilogram? Was Cuihua joking? For Jianghu village inhabitants, the aloe vera was an insignificant wild plant. Even the local vegetables were only sold at 5 cents per kilogram, yet this wild plant was being sold at yuans per kilogram. In the eyes of the villagers, the price of yuans per kilogram was astronomical. Cuihua, don't joke with us. Exactly, if you keep speaking like this, we will take it seriously. Cuihua laughed and said, I'm not joking, my daughter Yang is really buying aloe vera at yuans per kilogram. Moreover, why would I joke about something like this? You're not joking with us? Everyone was doubtful. Cuihua nodded seriously, really? I'm not fooling you. When will your Yang start buying? Cuihua continued, as long as there is, we will buy it any time. Yang said that good goods were not afraid of stockpiling. Therefore, no matter how much aloe vera people brought, they would accept it all. So, does your Yang want the root or not? It was best to clarify this. Cuihua replied, no need for the roots, you folks can just cut the whole aloe vera with a knife. After Cuihua finished speaking, those who were still chatting disappeared in an instant. Everyone went back to harvest aloe vera. When everyone had left, Cuihua also took the child home. Shortly after she arrived home, a villager came with half a bag of aloe vera. Cuihua had the scales ready, 31 kilograms, a total of 3 yuan and 1 cent. When the villager took the 3 yuan and 1 cent in hand, he was still in a daze. Only then did he truly believe that Cuihua hadn't lied to them. The more villagers came to the family to deliver aloe vera, they went in with aloe vera and came out with money in their hands. Almost everyone had a smile on their face. In this era, it is not hard for someone who knows how to do business to earn money, but it is difficult for these honest villagers to make money. Common farmers work hard in the fields all year round and can't make 100 or 80 yuan. But today they only sold a little aloe vera and made 3 or 4 yuan. You should know aloe vera is much easier to manage than the crops in the field. It seems they can plant more aloe vera next spring. Since Yang came to Jianghu village, their days in the village had been getting better and better. It seems that Yang was truly their lucky star. After purchasing the aloe vera, Yang rode her bike to the city. The shop renovation had been completed, and the final cleanup had begun. In 3 days the shop could officially open for business. At this moment Wang Jinfeng was busy setting up tables and chairs. Seeing Yang walking in, Wang Jinfeng greeted her with a smile. Yang is here. Aunt Jinfeng. Yang continued, where are Uncle Tiniu and the others? Wang Jinfeng replied, your Uncle Tiniu and the others are cleaning the kitchen and arranging the kitchen utensils. Oh. Yang nodded, Aunt Jinfeng, I have something to discuss with you. Go ahead. Wang Jinfeng wiped her hands on her clothes and sat opposite Yang. Yang continued, I want to invite you and Aunt Zhou to work in the noodle restaurant after it opens. The salary will still be 2 yuan a day. I have already spoken to Aunt Zhou about this, what do you think? Anai Yang was busy with her skincare business, so if she didn't hire 2 more people for the restaurant, she wouldn't be able to handle it. After considering all aspects, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang seemed to be the best choices. Zhou Qingshang was educated and reasonable. Although Wang Jinfang was a bit spirited in character, sometimes, a spirited person was necessary to rule out evil. Anai Yang had experience running a catering business in her past life. She knew that sometimes there would be some extremely difficult customers, and even some who would come to cause trouble. Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang could complement each other's personalities. Upon hearing this, Wang Jinfang looked at Anai Yang in surprise, unable to close her excited mouth. This was simply a surprise from heaven. 2 yuan a day. 60 yuan a month, 720 yuan a year. My goodness. She had not earned this much money in 3 years. Upon hearing this, Wang Jinfang nodded repeatedly, I am willing. I am willing. Anai Yang smiled and took out the labor contract. Then please sign the labor contract. The labor contract system was not yet enforced at this time, but Anai Yang had seen too many things in her past life. The human heart was too difficult to measure, so some things that should be signed must be signed. Although Wang Jinfang couldn't read, she trusted Anai Yang. Yang, I can't read, can I press a handprint for you? Anai Yang nodded and flipped the contract to the last page. Yes, you can press a handprint here. The labor contract was in 2 copies, one for Wang Jinfang and one for Anai Yang to keep. Now that the shop was officially finished, Anai Yang was ready to invite everyone for a big meal. So, she talked to Wang Tiniu about this matter. Uncle Tiniu, I am going to the vegetable market now to buy some food. You invite everyone to come to my house for dinner tonight. Make sure they bring all the old people and children from their homes, don't keep formalities with me. Anai Yang is a grateful person, she always remembered the matter from last time, and because of that, she had the idea of leading the whole village to prosperity. Otherwise she would not have bought aloe vera from the villagers. There is a reward for everything you do. Since the villagers of Jinghua village showed her the warmth of brightness, she would not behave like an ingrate. Wang Tiniu was a little embarrassed. Yang, you don't have to go through so much trouble, it's not easy for you to make money. But Anai Yang did not give Wang Tiniu a chance to refuse. Uncle Tiniu, let's consider it settled then, I am going to buy food now. Elsewhere. Mo Hudi's condition had improved greatly in recent days. After drinking Chinese medicine for several days, she could now go downstairs and play with Yang Guobao on her own. Both Old Lady Mo and Mo Fuhai were pleased to see this. After so many years they finally witnessed this scene. However, the situation of Li Xianxian was not very good. She was still in a coma and was in a state of semi-vegetative. The old lady Mo came to the hospital to visit Li Xianxian and was anxious. At this moment, the maid Lin Sa said, Old lady, the young divine Dr. Anai Yang is so powerful, maybe she has a way to wake Miss Xianxian. Chapter 180, Investigation of Li Xianxian and her mother. Noodle restaurant opens. One upon hearing this, old Mrs. Mo's eyes lit up. That's right, we can find Anai Yang. Anai Yang's medical skills are so brilliant, she can definitely save Xianxian. In old Mrs. Mo's heart, Anai Yang was becoming an ever-present beacon of hope. Soon after, old Mrs. Mo continued, Isn't Anai Yang coming to see Xiaodia for a follow-up examination tomorrow? Yes. Mrs. Lin nodded. Old Mrs. Mo added, Then let's wait for Anai Yang to come and examine Xiaodai tomorrow, then she can look at Xianxian. It was already late afternoon, and it wouldn't be appropriate to invite Anai Yang over at this hour. They could afford to wait a little longer. Old Mrs. Mo stayed in the ward for a while, then went to find the chief doctor to understand Li Xianxian's condition before leaving the hospital. Anai family. Since Anai Yang decided to invite all the villagers for dinner that night, she bought a lot of food. By Anai Yang's estimation, there were over 100 villagers in Jinghua village. A table of 10 would require 10 tables in total. In these times when everyone was not exactly living in abundance, Anai Yang bought 30 kilograms of fat pork, 10 roosters, 20 pig's feet, 10 fish and some tofu skin, kelp, duck blood and potatoes for vegetarian dishes. She planned to prepare 3 hearty dishes, a grilled fish, and simply blanch the vegetables in the fish soup for efficiency and convenience. 30 kilograms of pork cost her 90 yuan, 10 roosters were 30 yuan, 20 pig's feet were 15 yuan, and 10 fish were 3 yuan. Including the vegetables and white wine, Anai Yang spent a total of over 160 yuan. 160 yuan could only buy you one meal at a street food stall in the future, but in this era, it could put up 10 tables of a lavish feast. All in all, it was money well spent. Seeing Ni Yang bring so much food home, Ni Tsuehua was surprised. Yang, why did you buy so much? When will we finish all these? Ni Yang said with a smile, Mom, our shop is now fully renovated, so I wanted to invite everyone for a feast to celebrate. Ni Tsuehua wasn't stingy. They had received a lot of care from the villagers since they moved to Jianghu village. That's right, we should treat everyone to a good meal. Speaking of which, Yang, did you buy extra meat? Vegetables could be had by everyone, it's the meat dishes that mattered. Ni Yang nodded, yes I did. Rest assured, everyone will have a feast tonight. Ni Tsuehua helped Ni Yang to unload the groceries, then started to wash the vegetables and chop the meat. Little Ni Yun was lying in his cradle, holding a little rubber duck and playing on his own, not crying or making a fuss. His cuteness was truly heartwarming. Ni Yang planned to make braised pork for dinner, with 10 tables in total and 30 kilograms of pork. Each table could have 3 kilograms. Braised pig's feet with soybeans, there were 20 pig's feet in total, each table could have 2. Then there would be roasted chicken, 10 chickens in total, each table could precisely have 1. The final main dish was grilled fish. As there were not enough stoves for everyone to cook and eat at the same time, Ni Yang could only grill the fish first, then cook it in a pot with accompanying vegetables and serve it at the table. After confirming the menu, Ni Yang began to prepare the braised pork. Because the pots at home were not large enough, the 20 kilograms of pork had to be cooked in 2 pots. With the braised pork simmering in the pot, Ni Yang began to marinate the chicken. When the chicken was marinated, Ni Tsuehua had the oven fire ready. Luckily, the oven was spacious enough to accommodate 10 roosters comfortably. In no time, the small courtyard was filled with tempting aromas. It made one's mouth water just smelling it. When she had almost finished the dinner preparations, Ni Yang went to the neighboring houses to borrow some tables and stools, and invited everyone to come for dinner. In just a while, the originally quiet farmhouse courtyard started to bustle with activity. The elderly, children, men and women of the families all came. People were fairly straightforward in those times. If you were good to me, I would be good to you. There was no scheming or insensitivity. So everyone arrived bearing gifts. Some brought chicken eggs. Others brought fruit from the trees in their yard. At this time of the year, there were oranges and chestnuts available. In no time, the table in the Ni family's living room was piled high with all kinds of little gifts. Immediately, Ni Yang starts herding everyone to sit down. Since there were many children, some of them didn't reach the table and stood next to the adults. The food was sumptuous. Shiny red braised pork, braised pig's feet with soybeans, glistening roasted chicken, and in the middle of the table was a large pot of grilled fish, surrounded by blanched vegetables and tofu skin. Chapter 181. Investigation into Li Xianxian Mother and Daughter, Noodle Restaurant Opening _2. The dishes may be few in number with only 4, but each one is an indisputably meat dish. Even before anyone started using their chopsticks, everyone was already swallowing saliva in tacit agreement. Usually, even during the new year, they had never seen so much meat. Yang, you really didn't have to be this considerate. Exactly, you two are being too polite. Ni Yang chuckled and said, my mother and I owe much gratitude to everyone for their care and assistance during our time since moving to Jianghu village. I raised this cup of tea in place of wine to express my thanks to everyone. At that, Ni Yang picked up her teacup from the table, drained it in one gulp, showing a touch of the demeanor of a heroine from ancient times. If this young girl were a boy, she would surely do great things in the future. Such a shame she's a girl. The older generation observed Ni Yang, a sense of regret evident in their eyes. The bias favoring boys over girls was deep-seated in their hearts. In their minds, girls simply couldn't accomplish anything great. Even if there were 10 girls, they still wouldn't be equal to one boy. In China, there's a saying that goes, a married daughter is like spilled water. Boys can carry on the family line. A family without a boy would be known as a family ending its line. At this time, even in Jinghua village, there were still numerous cases of newborn girls being abandoned. Girls had never been treated fairly or equitably. What Ni Yang intended to do was subvert the weak status that girls held in people's hearts. To let people know that girls today can also hold up their own patch of sky. An elder with considerable respect in the village stood up and said, Yang, your words are too polite. We should be the ones thanking you and your mother. You two have done us many favors in our daily lives. Moreover, since you moved to Jinghua village, it shows that we are destined to be connected. Henceforth we are all part of Jinghua village. Old Cheng is correct. You and your mother are part of Jinghua village. We're all from the same village, let's not talk as if we're from two different ones. Enai Chingue had been married into Jinghua village for over 20 years, and this was the first time she realized that the villagers of Jinghua could be so united and welcoming. Previously, everyone seemed to be busy with their own things, and except for funerals and weddings where they would gather, there were hardly opportunities to gather together. The relationship among neighbors was not as harmonious as it is now. Moreover, they were not easily accepting of outsiders. Outsiders also found it hard to integrate into the locals' way of life. The main reason why Enai Tsuehua and her daughter were so easily accepted by the villagers was because Enai Yang knew how to interact with people, was generous with money, and knew how to win people's hearts. It was hard to imagine that Enai Yang, a 17-year-old girl, could have such ability. Whether it was her business acumen or her interpersonal skills, she outperformed most adults. At the same time, Enai Chingue knew well that Jinghua village, a place so small, could not contain Enai Yang. This girl would one day dazzle everyone. If Enai Yang had been born in the Warring States period, she could easily have been a female general or an empress. Although China has a history of favoring males over females, over the past 5,000 years, there have been women who became queens and government officials. To avoid any possible suspicion, men and women sat separately during the meal. There were 5 tables for men, 5 for women, and some children eating at smaller tables by the side. Throughout the meal, there were exclamations of delight. This fish is too delicious. And this braised pork is excellent. Is this chicken grilled? These simple villagers had never eaten such delicious foods in their lives. Normally if they bought meat they simply cooked it haphazardly. None could match the exquisite dishes made by Enai Yang. In the majority of households, the only cooking ingredients were oil and salt. Some couldn't even afford to use oil. Enai Yang also made sour plum soup, so while the men were drinking alcohol, the women were drinking sour plum soup. Most of the women were trying this novel drink for the first time. They all questioned Enai Yang on how to prepare it. Enai Yang didn't withhold the knowledge, she directly shared the recipe to prepare sour plum soup. Since the sour plum soup wasn't an original creation of hers, she didn't claim it as her own. Some of the more thoughtful women noted down the recipe, planning to prepare it for their children to drink. They could also serve it to relatives and friends when they visited during the New Year festivities. This would not only be economical but also prestigious. Chapter 182, Investigating Li Xianxian and her daughter, Noodle Restaurant opens _3. This meal was so satisfying that everyone was left with oily lips, and the children were all full to the brim. After the meal it was already dark outside. The men went home, and the women stayed at the Enai family home to help wash dishes and clean up the tables. With an entire 10 tables of guests, there were more than 100 bowls used just for the meal alone, not to mention the serving dishes. If it was left to just Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang to clean up, there was no telling when they would finish. The women, all accustomed to such chores at home, did not slack off just because it was not their own household. They were even more thorough in helping than they would have been in their own homes, and they did not allow Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang to help. They had all just enjoyed a large and satisfying meal at the Enai family home, leaving them not just satisfied but also high-spirited. Thus they worked with smiles on their faces. It should be noted that most of them hadn't eaten meat for almost a year. As the saying goes, many hands make light work, and amidst their chatter and laughter, the Enai family's courtyard was restored to its former state in less than half an hour. This meal was not just a simple meal for Enai Yang. This meal signified that she and her mother were officially settling down in Jinghua village from this day onward. The next day was the day Enai Yang was to go to the Mo family for a follow-up visit. In the morning, as soon as she opened the door, she found Mo Chishan waiting for her on his bicycle. Yang, my mother sent me to pick you up. Enai Yang didn't waste time, she sat directly on the back seat of the bicycle. Then let's go. Let's go. Mo Chishan's mood suddenly lightened as he pedaled away, the bicycle soon going quite far. Riding along with the morning wind and accompanied by the chirping of birds, they passed through the quiet countryside, the booming city center, and soon arrived at the Mo family's villa. Sister Enai Yang, Uncle Mo Hudi came down from the stairs with small steps. Enai Yang walked over, shouted, "How have you been feeling these past few days? Are you better?" Mo Hudi nodded her head and smiled, "Much better thank you, Sister Enai Yang." Mo Hudi was very clear in her heart, if it were not for Enai Yang, she would not have been able to recover so quickly. "You're welcome," Enai Yang patted Mo Hudi's head, "I'm a doctor, it's my duty to heal and save lives. Yang is here." Hearing the commotion outside, the old Mrs. Mo came out, her eyes full of excitement as she looked at Ni Yang. Old Mrs. Mo. Ni Yang greeted politely. Mrs. Mo instructed the servants to serve tea and water, and brought out a variety of imported snacks. Yang, have a snack and some tea before checking Xiaodai's pulse, no rush. Ni Yang picked up the tea and took a sip, then took Mo Hudi's pulse. Mo Qishan quietly watched her. Ni Yang focused slightly, her eyes serious, her long eyelashes casting a faint shadow on her eyelids. She was not like the fashionable women on the streets. Every piece of clothing she wore had a subtle hint of antiquity. For example, now she was wearing a white knee-length cheongsam with a beige long coat over it. The collar of the coat was embroidered with a few proud red plum blossoms, echoing with the red buttons on the cheongsam. She conveyed both classical beauty and the youthful playfulness suitable for her age. Over the years, Mo Qishan had seen many girls, but none of them made his heart beat faster like Ni Yang did. Mrs. Mo also was very satisfied with Ni Yang. She was not someone who paid much attention to family backgrounds. Zhao Jingrong came from a prestigious family, but what happened in the end? Did she not still look down on people with her superior attitude? So, compared to family status, she valued a person's character more. After a while, Ni Yang released Mo Hudi's wrist and then said, "Xiaodai's recovery is faster than I expected. If she continues this way, she should be almost cured after a month of taking the medicine. The metabolic rate of children is much higher than that of adults, after all." Mrs. Mo nodded her head, taking Ni Yang's hand, and exclaimed, "Yang, we are so lucky to have met you. If not for you, Xiaodai might still be bedridden." Before you, Dr. Ace examined Xiaodai too. He even suggested a full blood transfusion for Xiaodai, claiming that she wouldn't survive without it. Looking back, that Dr. Ace's words seem alarmist, lacking skill and demeaning traditional Chinese medicine. Ni Yang smiled. Actually, blood transfusion is an option, but it carries more risk. Western medicine, based on natural science, aims to cure problems directly, treating the symptoms. However, traditional Chinese medicine, based on philosophy, sees the human body as a whole system, advocating treatment from the inside out, slowly adjusting. Firstly, cure the root cause and the symptoms will naturally improve. Chapter 183. Investigation into Li Xianxian mother and daughter noodle restaurant opening carrot. Upon hearing this, Mo Baichuan, who was about to enter, halted. He could hardly believe that these words came from Ni Yang's mouth. He vividly remembered the night Mo Hudi's accident occurred. Dr. Ace had found him, denounced everything about traditional Chinese medicine, even boldly declaring that without his treatment, Mo Hudi only had death as an option. Yet, not only did Ni Yang not belittle Western medicine, but she also pointed out the differences between Chinese and Western medicine. Could an ordinary person possess such magnanimity? Or did Ni Yang know he would return and had prepared her lines ahead of time? This wasn't impossible for Ni Yang. After all, it was not the first time Ni Yang has done such a thing. In order to get close to him, she had truly went to great lengths. Thinking of this, Mo Baichuan felt a surge of disgust. Just as Mo Baichuan was about to step in, his assistant ran over from behind and whispered, "Third Master, something has happened at the base." Another incident? Mo Baichuan slightly furrowed his brow, his eyes full of impatience. These past few days had been like a curse. Every time he left the base, something would immediately happen. He was nearly suffocating from being tangled up in these trivial matters. "Let's go." Mo Baichuan turned around and strode towards the door. In the room, Madame Mo thanked Ni Yang again and then handed her a thick envelope. "Yang, this is a small token of gratitude from the Mo family. Please accept it." In principle, money cannot measure the act of saving a life, but Madame Mo couldn't think of any other way to thank Ni Yang. "Madam, I accept your kind intentions, but I can't take so much." Ni Yang opened the envelope, symbolically drew out a couple of large notes. "Taking these is enough. It's difficult to see a doctor, to find medicine, even harder to consult a doctor. If I were to take this much money from you, it would break the rules and no one would dare come to me for treatment anymore. Doing good deeds would bring blessings." This was a lesson Ni Yang learned from being reborn. Therefore, Ni Yang not only treated the rich but also ordinary people. If word got out that she charged sky-high consultation fees, what were those struggling people supposed to do? In this life, she intended to use her medical skills to help even more people. Madame Mo looked at Ni Yang, her eyes full of admiration. Girls as good as Ni Yang were hard to come by in today's world. She was very authentic, no deliberate flattery in her words, no smugness for curing Mo Hudi. Throughout, she retained a calm demeanor. It was as though she was like an orchid in an empty valley, quietly elegant. Good, good. Madame Imo held N.I. Yang's hand, lavishing her with praise. After a while, Madame Imo remembered the business at hand and continued, Yang, I have a younger relative. She tried to commit suicide some time ago by slashing her wrist and has not woken since. Do you think you can make some time today to see her? N.I. Yang nodded, I can. Madame Imo excitedly said, we can go right now. Mom, Imo Chishan followed their pace, I'll accompany you too. The three of them arrived at the hospital together. When N.I. Yang saw the patient lying in bed, she froze. If it's not Li Xianxian, then who is it? Even though Li Xianxian was considerably younger than in her previous life, N.I. Yang recognized her at first glance. What was Li Xianxian's connection with the Imo family? N.I. Yang vaguely remembered that in her previous life, there was a scar on Li Xianxian's wrist. So, it was from this time. But, why did she try to commit suicide? Although shocked, N.I. Yang's face did not reveal anything. She reached out and rested her hand on Li Xianxian's wrist. After a while she lifted her head and said, I'm sorry madam, but I'm unable to help this young lady. Madame Imo was taken aback. Alt? How could that be? Is Xianxian she? If even N.I. Yang with her excellent medical skills, was unable to cure Li Xianxian, did that mean there was really no hope for her? N.I. Yang continued, this miss suffered external wounds, while my expertise is complex and difficult illnesses. I'm truly sorry madam. Actually for N.I. Yang, Li Xianxian's condition wasn't a difficult case. But without understanding what happened in her past life, N.I. Yang couldn't save a person suspected of killing her. In her past life, the last person she saw before her death was Li Xianxian. The suspicion on Li Xianxian was just too great. In fact, in her previous life, N.I. Yang and Li Xianxian weren't very close, having only met 2 or 3 times. But because the last person she saw before the accident was Li Xianxian, N.I. Yang had an exceptionally deep impression of her. Chapter 184. Investigation into Li Xianxian mother and daughter, noodle restaurant opening _5. Theoretically, she and Li Xianxian weren't very familiar. Li Xianxian had no motive to kill her. But why, after seeing Li Xianxian, did she die? Moreover, the more N.I. Yen looked at Li Xianxian's face, the more she thought she resembled someone. Who did she resemble? N.I. Yen squinted her eyes. Li Shu. Right. It was Li Shu. Especially that mole on the left cheek, it was exactly like Li Shu's. Could Li Xianxian be Li Shu's daughter? In her past life, Li Shu spent her lifetime with Mu Jinbao. Aside from knowing that Li Shu had a son later on, N.I. Yen never knew that Li Shu also had a daughter. What on earth was going on? The more N.I. Yen thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. She was still pondering it as she walked out of the ward. Yang, what's the matter? Imo Chishan asked when he saw her absent-mindedly walking out of the ward. N.I. Yen gave a faint smile. Nothing, perhaps the ward is just too stuffy. As she finished speaking, N.I. Yen continued, who was that girl that slit her wrists? What's her relationship with your family? Imo Chishan replied, actually there's not much of a relationship. Her name is Li Xianxian, she is a sophomore student at Beijing Normal University and she works part-time as a personal assistant to my eldest nephew at a base. Because she helped my mother before and she's an orphan, my mother has been quite close to her and has even considered her a potential granddaughter-in-law. So, it turns out that Li Xianxian had such deep ties with the Imo family. N.I. Yen continued, she's an orphan? If Li Xianxian was indeed an orphan, then wouldn't the hypothesis of her being Li Shu's daughter be invalid? She knew too little about Li Xianxian from her past life, and for the moment, couldn't connect any dots. Yes, Imo Chishan nodded, do you know her? N.I. Yen shook her head, no, I just find her somewhat familiar. Oh. Imo Chishan nodded. They reached the hospital lobby. N.I. Yen continued, Brother Imo, I have something to attend to. I must go now, please say goodbye to the old lady for me later. I'll let the driver take you, Imo Chishan said. No need, N.I. Yen smiled, I have something to do downtown. All right, Imo Chishan nodded, take care on your way. Yes, I will. N.I. Yen nodded, turned and left. Soon, her figure disappeared outside the hospital. Imo Chishan leaned against the door frame. After a while he pulled a cigarette out of his pocket, lit it slowly, propped it in his mouth, looking carefree yet dignified. After leaving, N.I. Yen went directly to a private detective agency. Just like in the movies, the detective wore a black suit, a black hat atop his head, even holding a pipe, appearing very professional. Hello, beautiful young lady, how may I assist you? Although the detective had seen many beauties, he was slightly stunned when he saw an Yen. He had seen many beauties, but a beauty with such spirit was a first. Some people, despite being beautiful, lack soul. But the young girl in front of him was different. Her beauty emanated from within. A rare oriental beauty. Help me investigate two people. An Yen slowly opened her mouth. Which two? The detective handed a pen and paper to an Yen. Please write the details on the paper. An Yen took the pen and paper. In no time the sound of rustling filled the air. About 10 minutes later she handed the paper back to the detective. These two people. Li Shu, Li Xianxian? An Yen nodded. Just investigate what's written on the paper. How many days will it take for the results to be known? The things you want to investigate are relatively simple, so results should come in about a month, the detective replied. The transportation of this era is not developed. Going anywhere required an introductory letter and certification. Moreover, not every city had an airport, so return trips tended to be time-consuming. An Yen continued, then it'll come back in a month. All right, the detective nodded. Please deposit the travel expenses, hardship allowance, board and lodging and investigation deposit first, with the full amount being given for travel expenses and board and lodging. How much? Asked an Yen. The total cost of these fees is 300. The detective continued, after the task is completed, you still need to pay another 500. Since there was no technical skill required for the investigation, an Yen requested, as long as he ran around and asked a few people, the information should be available, so the price wasn't high. Things like rich housewives wanting to know if their men were having an affair outside, those cost more, basically starting from 2000. Chapter 185. Investigation into Li Xianxian mother and daughter noodle restaurant opening _6. Although it was only a total of 800 yuan, it was kind of expensive for an Yang at the moment. After all, she just bought a shop, finished the refurbishment and was a little tight on cash. But an Yang paid without any hesitation. After all, this matter was related to her own safety. She always felt that her past lives' experiences and the cause of her death had a lot to do with Li Xianxian and Li Shu. So, she had to figure it out to have peace of mind. Having lived one life wrongly in this life, an Yang wanted to fully enjoy the great life. She couldn't leave any safety hazards. By the way, the last live's revenge should be reported together. Thank you for your trouble. An Yang grinned slightly. The detective bowed. No problem, my surname is Zhou, just call me Xiao Zhou. An Yang nodded. After leaving the detective agency, an Yang felt a lot more relaxed. This matter could be handed over to the detective for investigation. Because Li Xianxian couldn't harm her at the moment, the most pressing thing was to make money. With money came a sense of security. Because the noodle restaurant was opening tomorrow, an Yang made another trip to the restaurant. In the restaurant, Wang Jinfeng and Zhou Qingshang had already started making fish bone soup in preparation for tomorrow's opening. Since an Yang pickled the sauerkraut herself and prepared the chili in advance, making sour fish wasn't a technical task as long as the fish slices were thin enough. Both Wang Jinfeng and Zhou Qingshang were clever people. Once an Yang explained, they knew what to do. Aunt Zhou, Aunt Jinfeng, thank you for your hard work. An Yang walked in with a smile. Zhou Qingshang laughed. It's not hard. It's just some kitchen work. Wang Jinfeng grinned. Your Aunt Zhou is right, it's not hard at all. With the high wages an Yang offered, neither Zhou Qingshang nor Wang Jinfeng felt tired. Instead, they felt more energetic the more they worked. There were 4 large pots in total. 3 of them were making fish bone soup and the 4th was empty. An Yang started to make sour plum soup with this empty pot. The dark plum, hawthorn and other ingredients had been pre-soaked. It would take about half an hour. Being late autumn, the sour plum soup could be stored in a large glass jar without worrying about it going bad. Usually, an Yang could serve 600 to 700 customers in a morning when she was street vending. On the opening day there should be more customers than usual, so she prepared enough for 2,000 servings. The pickled vegetable noodles also prepared 2,000 servings. At this time of the year, even if they couldn't sell all, they could keep the rest for the next day's sales without worrying about spoilage. Even before the opening, there were a few people outside asking if they were opening tomorrow. An Yang smiled. Yes, it opens tomorrow. Seeing an Yang, everyone happily said, Little boss, it's really you. We came yesterday and didn't see you. We were worried that this shop had changed owners. Little boss, what time will you open tomorrow morning? An Yang said, we open at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Will the sour plum soup be given away for free to those who come to eat noodles tomorrow? An Yang nodded. Yes, everyone who comes to eat noodles gets a cup of sour plum soup. Okay, well definitely come over early tomorrow. In Ni Yang's absence, Sun Chuanxiang made a lot of money. After all, once Ni Yang stopped selling, there was only her store that sold pickled vegetable noodles. People who wanted to eat pickled vegetable noodles had to go to her store. Sun Chuanxiang proudly changed the price of the sour fish noodles to 3 yuans and 5 cents per bowl, 5 cents more expensive than what Ni Yang used to sell. Even so, there were many people who came to eat every day. At this time, Sun Chuanxiang worked overtime to sell pickled vegetable noodles and made more than 5,000 yuan in just a month. With these 5,000 yuan, her son's tuition was all set. To make it up for the hard times her son had been through, Sun Chuanxiang increased his weekly food allowance to 100 yuan. She could make 5,000 in 1 month, 10,000 in 2 months, and 60,000 in a year. What's 400 to 500 yuan spent by her son a month compared to that? The more she thought about it, the happier Sun Chuanxiang got. She even couldn't help humming a little tune as she cooked the noodles. At this moment, her sister-in-law, Li Xiangji, walked over with a worried look on her face. Sister. What's wrong? Li Xiangji continued, I heard that Ni Yang, that little girl, has bought a shop, and it will be open tomorrow. Chapter 186. Investigation into Li Xianxian mother and daughter noodle restaurant opening? What? Sun Chuanxiang turned pale with fright. Li Xiangji repeated what she just said. She had been helping out here for some time, and Sun Chuanxiang had given her quite a few benefits. If all the business was taken away by Ni Yang, wouldn't she lose out in the future? After getting a clear understanding of the situation, Sun Chuanxiang dropped the bowl she was holding. She bought a shop? That damn little bitch actually bought a shop. Where did she get the money to buy a shop? Ni Yang had been gone for so long, Sun Chuanxiang thought she was dead. Unexpectedly, she had secretly bought a shop. For a moment, Sun Chuanxiang was both furious and envious. She was just getting by and Ni Yang came to steal her business again. How could someone be so shameless? Then Sun Chuanxiang said, Xiangji, go to Ni Yang's place now and find out if this news is reliable. Okay. Li Xiangji nodded and ran off. Sun Chuanxiang steadied her nerves and continued to serve her customers. Just then, 3 noodle-eating customers arrived at the stall. Before they could get seated, a middle-aged woman came from across the street. Xiaoli Xiaozhao Xiaowang, stop eating here. The Boss Noodle restaurant opens tomorrow, and you will even get a free sour plum soup. Really? The 3 of them were extremely excited. The middle-aged woman said, Of course it's true. Everyone is heading over there now to get familiar with the place. Do you want to go have a look? We do. Sun Chuanxiang, standing in front of the iron pot, turned black with anger and immediately chased after the 3 customers, saying, Hey, don't go. The noodles are already cooked. How about I give you a 5-cent discount per bowl? One of them turned back and said, No thanks, the flavor here is not as authentic as what the little boss has. 3 cents a bowl and they still want it to be more authentic? Pah. Sun Chuanxiang spat fiercely on the ground. Disgusting poor bastards, I don't even want to do business with you. A large crowd had gathered in front of Ni Yang's shop. Li Xiangji was one of them, standing in the middle of the crowd, tiptoeing and craning her neck to see the renovation inside the shop. The door was made of glass. The interior was simply arranged, easy to see at a glance. Pictures of pickled fish noodles were stuck all around the walls. It looked hot with sesame, chili, green onion and cilantro sprinkled on top, a very visual impact, making people salivate and couldn't wait to try a bowl. Color cameras have been introduced in 1936. But at this time, few people used them to photograph dishes for promotion. Ni Yang must be the first in the city to do this. To take these photos, Ni Yang spent quite a sum, a luxury few businesses could afford. No doubt Ni Yang's idea was simply too brilliant. Many onlookers marveled in their hearts that this little boss was really good at doing business. Some of the other businessmen even planned to copy this business strategy after they got back. When Li Xiangji got back, she told Sun Chuanxiang about it. Upon hearing this, Sun Chuanxiang was so furious that she couldn't stand it. She could already foresee the miserable scene tomorrow. No, she must come up with a plan to retain her business. Is Ni Yang selling a bowl for 5 cents less tomorrow and also giving out a cup of sour plum soup? Sun Chuanxiang followed up asking. Yes. Li Xiangji nodded, but not everyone gets a 5-cent discount, only those with cards get it, but everyone does get a sour plum soup. Okay. Sun Chuanxiang nodded. Then we'll sell it for 1 cent a bowl. Since fish was not expensive, the cost of a bowl of noodles was about 3 cents. Even if they were sold for 1 cent a bowl, there were still profits to be made, just less than before. Although she was at a disadvantage in terms of taste, she could drop the price. Let's see if Ni Yang has the guts to lower her prices too. She didn't believe that if she sold it for 1 cent a bowl, no one would come to eat. At around 5 o'clock the next morning, Ni Yang arrived at the restaurant. Although the opening time was set for 6 o'clock, people started lining up around 5:30. At around 5:40, a small truck parked in front of the store and 5 or 6 workers started arranging flower baskets at the entrance. Someone also brought a red carpet. Ni Yang wondered, "Sir, are you sure you've got the right place? I didn't order these things." The flower delivery man checked the delivery note. "It's 518 Yurdist Road, all right. These things were ordered by a Mr. Imo to be delivered here." "Mr. Imo?" Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Could it be Imo Chishin? It seemed that there was no one else. While she was thinking about this, Imo Chishin strolled over with a porcelain cat. "Yang, I wish you a successful opening. Here's a lucky cat for you." The lucky cat originated from our country, and had existed for more than 1,000 years. At this time they were imported goods and quite expensive. "Thank you." Ni Yang took it. "I'm sorry to have made you spend." Imo Chishin smiled and said, "It didn't cost much, there's no need to worry about it." At exactly 6 o'clock in the morning, with the help of Imo Chishin, Ni Yang unveiled the red cloth covering the signboard. The characters on the sign were simple, just the words "Sour Fish Noodle Restaurant," which was easy to understand at a glance. Yang, it's time for the firecrackers." Wang Jinfang handed Ni Yang a pack of matches. Imo Chishin had originally thought that Ni Yang would ask for his help since most girls were afraid of such things. But Ni Yang didn't hint at needing any help. She walked directly to the firecrackers, slowly lit the match and lit the firecrackers. As the firecrackers crackled loudly, Ni Yang calmly turned around. The moment Ni Yang emerged from the dense smoke, Imo Chishin couldn't help wondering, was she really not an immortal who had descended from the clouds? As the firecrackers sounded, the restaurant was instantly filled with customers. "Boss, we need 3 bowls of noodles over here. We want 5 bowls over here." Chapter 187. Marketing Strategy by a House to Save for Wife. _1 Ni Yang was busy receiving money, serving noodles and taking orders. Meanwhile, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang were bustling in the kitchen. Even Mo Baichuan had joined in the delivery of the dishes. Due to the lack of seats in the store, many people ordered a bowl of noodles and squatted outside to eat. They enjoyed the spicy and tangy pickled fish noodles while sipping on the appetizing sour plum soup. The enjoyment was extreme. There was a lively atmosphere both inside and outside the store. Those who had never eaten pickled fish noodles couldn't help but order a portion. Business was booming and the queue of people never ended. This scene made the bosses of nearby shops turn green with envy. Sun Chuanxiang arrived quite early in the morning. Unlike usual, there was no queue in front of her stall this morning. Seeing the deserted stall, Sun Chengxiang's face fell. She knew where all those customers had gone without having to think about it. "And Yang, that damn bitch." Sun Chuanxiang had thought that lowering the price of pickled fish noodles to 1 cent a bowl in the morning should surely attract many people. However, reality had dealt her a heavy blow. Seeing Sun Chuanxiang like this, Li Xiangji was scared to even breathe. After all, her livelihood now depended on Sun Chengxiang's mood. After a while, Li Xiangji hesitantly suggested, "Sister, don't worry. Maybe it's too early and everyone hasn't come out yet." This reason was far-fetched. Even Li Xiangji didn't believe it. Sun Chengxiang's eyes bulged. "You go now and see what's happening in that bitch in Yang's store." "Oh." Li Xiangji immediately took off her apron. "I'm going now." Li Xiangji was flabbergasted as soon as she reached the entrance of the noodle restaurant. What does it mean when a door is like a marketplace? This was what it meant. What a contrast between boom and bust. If Sun Chuanxiang saw the scene at Ni Yang's, she would probably jump off a building out of anger. Even seeing this made Li Xiangzi's eyes red with envy. Sun Chuanxiang used to make over 5,000 yuan a month just by running a stall. According to Ni Yang's business, doesn't she make 20 to 30,000 a month? My goodness, that's terrifying. 20 to 30,000. That's more than what most people make in several years. Although Ni Yang's noodles were really delicious, smelling the fragrance from the shop, Li Xiangji couldn't help but swallow her saliva. After going back, Li Xiangji told Sun Chuanxiang about the situation. Hearing this, Sun Chuanxiang was consumed by jealousy. As long as Ni Yang existed, she couldn't continue her business. That little bitch was driving her into a corner. "Sister, don't worry, the reason why Ni Yang's place is busy is because of the good taste. If we can improve our flavor, we won't worry about having no customers. Li Xiangzi's words hit the nail on the head. Every person is a hidden foodie, so they don't care if the pickled vegetable noodles are 3 cents a bowl or 1 cent a bowl. They just want a good taste. After all, there aren't many good things to eat these days. Pickled fish is a novelty. Sun Chuanxiang understood this, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't replicate Ni Yang's flavor. No matter how she treated the fish, there was always a fishy smell, and the pickled vegetables from the market didn't have enough flavor. Li Xiangji continued, "Sister, we can think about getting the recipe for the pickled fish from Ni Yang. Her pickled fish is so delicious, there must be a recipe." Upon hearing this, a spark flashed in Sun Chengxiang's eyes. Right. Why hadn't she thought about it before? She could find a way to get the recipe. Li Gongqing had been thinking about Ni Yang's opening day, and so he had come early. Seeing the busy figure in the shop, Li Gongqing almost thought he was hallucinating. Was that Mo Qishan? As Song Beiqing's personal assistant, Li Gongqing was familiar with everyone around Song Beiqing. He even knew about Mo Qishan's cancelled engagement. Although Mo Qishan was a bit of a waste, he was born into a distinguished family, being the biological son of Lady Mo. He couldn't possibly be reduced to working for Ni Yang, right? Moreover, Mo Qishan was spoiled by Lady Mo, who wouldn't even scold him. How could he be working in such a servile way? In this era, being a self-employed worker was considered lowly. No matter how much money you made, you didn't have a good reputation. Let alone working for a self-employed worker. Chapter 188. Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. _2. What's going on? If it wasn't for his own eyes witnessing it, Li Gongqing definitely wouldn't believe it was true. Mr. Mo. Li Gongqing walked over to Mo Qishan and greeted him respectfully. Mo Qishan gave him a puzzled look. Since Mo Qishan was often idle and unstable like a shoddy job, it was normal that he didn't recognize Li Gongqing. Li Gongqing quickly explained, "Mr. Mo, my name is Li Gongqing. I am the assistant to your nephew Song Beiqing. I came to pick up breakfast for the old lady." It was then that Mo Qishan remembered that Ni Yang was responsible for preparing breakfast for old lady Mo every morning. "You wait a moment, I'll go call Yang Yang for you." Yang Yang? Is Mo Qishan really that close with Ni Yang? What's their relationship? Could it be a romantic one? A talented young lady like Ni Yang wouldn't be attracted to a nameless person like Mo Qishan, right? Li Gongqing suppressed his surprise, nodded and said, "Okay, thank you, Mr. Mo." Mo Qishan then turned and headed to the kitchen. A few moments later, Ni Yang came out with an insulated box and 2 bowls of noodles. "Thank you, Xiaoni." Li Gongqing took the insulated box and noodles with one hand and handed the money to Ni Yang with the other. "Xiaoni, I wish you a thriving business and a fortune every day." Ni Yang smiled and said, "Thank you." The noodle restaurant was very busy. After getting his takeout, Li Gongqing didn't stay long and quickly left. It wasn't until around 1 p.m. that the number of noodle eaters began to decrease. Ni Yang roughly calculated, from 6 o'clock in the morning until now, over 7 hours, nearly 1,500 servings of noodles have been sold. Excluding the 500 discounted bowls, the rest were sold at the regular price, meaning these 7 hours of business brought in more than 450 yuan. This does not include the price of the sour plum soup because it was complimentary today. The soup will definitely bring in more when it's priced separately tomorrow. As Ni Yang did the math, she hung a sign saying "taking a break" on the glass door outside and planned to rest for an hour and a half and be back in business at 2:30 p.m. As important as money is, it can't compare to good health. "Brother Mo, you've worked hard today." Ni Yang took the bowl of noodles from Mo Qishan's hand and placed it in front of the last table of guests. Mo Qishan smiled and said, "It's no big deal, I was just wasting time anyway." Ni Yang continued, "It's getting late now, Brother Mo, let me take you out for a meal." Mo Qishan had helped her all morning without ever taking a breather, and Ni Yang wanted to treat him to a good meal. And Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang in the kitchen were equally busy. "If you really want to treat me to a meal," Mo Qishan replied, "just cook me a bowl of noodles." After a hard morning's work, how could Ni Yang just treat him to a bowl of noodles? But Mo Qishan, as though seeing through Ni Yang's thoughts, sat down opposite her and sternly said, "I really just want a bowl of noodles." Ni Yang gave a small smile, "All right, just wait a bit then." As she finished speaking, Ni Yang turned and headed to the kitchen. In the kitchen, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang were constantly busy. Even though there weren't many customers now, they were still preparing for the afternoon's business. Despite the morning rush, neither of them felt tired. When they were in the countryside they used to work in the fields. No matter how hot the sun was, they could not rest for a moment. Compared to the dirty and tiresome farm work, this was nothing. Aunt Zhou and Jinfeng, you've worked hard. Ni Yang rolled up her sleeves. Don't worry about it for now, go rest in the front room for a while, I'll cook the noodles for you. Zhou Qingshang smiled and said, it's not laborious at all. Wiping her apron, Wang Jinfeng said, Yang, we brought our own meals, you don't need to fuss. She had given them such a high salary, how could they still eat Ni Yang's noodles? A person must know their boundaries. Remember, at this time, people only earn about 30 yuan a month working in a factory, but Ni Yang gives them 60 yuan a month. Ni Yang said, Aunts, you don't need to bring meals for noon from now on, I have plenty of noodles here. Unless you don't like the taste of the noodles here. On hearing this, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng quickly explained, No, it's not that we don't like the taste of the noodles, it's just that, Ni Yang interrupted their words with a smile, since you don't dislike the taste of the noodles, don't bring food during lunch hours anymore or else he'll be upset. Chapter 189. Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. 3. Upon hearing this, both Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng felt immensely grateful. They understood that Ni Yang wanted to spare them the awkwardness, hence she said it in that manner. Although it was just a matter of one meal, in the long run, that could actually save them a considerable amount of money. At the same time, they both secretly resolved to work even harder for Ni Yang from now on. Ni Yang, guiding Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng to the exit, said, 2 aunts, you may rest now. I am capable of handling this by myself. The noodles will be ready soon. Zhou Qingshang protested, but we really did bring meals for today. Ni Yang chuckled. Then you can take them home and eat them tonight. Besides, I didn't cook only for you two, Brother Imo, and I also need to eat. Upon hearing this, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng relaxed significantly and went outside, sharing a laugh. Ni Yang tied her apron and started cooking the noodles. In no time she prepared 4 steaming bowls of pickled fish noodles. With everything she needed already available in the restaurant, Ni Yang added other food ingredients like crispy fried eggs, green vegetables, bean sprouts, pork slices, chili, green onions, and cilantro. It transformed the simple dish into a deluxe version of pickled noodle soup. Ni Yang placed the bowls on the table and said, Aunt Zhou and Jinfeng, Brother Imo, let's eat. Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng glanced at each other, lifted the bowls from the table and said in unison, We will eat over there. Young people should have their space for conversations. It wouldn't be appropriate for 2 old ladies to sit between them. The 2 women took their bowls and moved away. Thank you, Yang. Imo Qishan accepted the noodles from Ni Yang naturally. Let's see how it tastes. Ni Yang watched Imo Qishan, anticipation in her eyes. This wasn't the first time Imo Qishan had tasted Ni Yang's cooking. Although he knew that the noodles wouldn't be disappointing, the incredible taste still left him awestruck. The noodles were chewy and the sour and spicy soup was a delight. The fish was remarkably tender and delicious. No hint of fishy taste lingered, making one crave more. Despite being someone who didn't indulge in culinary pleasures, Imo Qishan couldn't help but sigh. No wonder there were so many people queuing up this morning. It's really delicious. Imo Qishan praised, giving Ni Yang a thumbs up. Ni Yang laughed and said, Then you have to finish all of it. If it's not enough, I can make more for you. That's enough. Imo Qishan replied. The bowls were huge and filled to the brim with generous portions of meat, eggs, and vegetables. Even with Imo Qishan's appetite, he would be unable to eat a second bowl. The noodles were just as satisfying for Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng. Taking advantage of the afternoon break, Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng took a nap while Ni Yang and Imo Qishan stepped out for a stroll. Walking shoulder to shoulder, their conversation flowed effortlessly. Ni Yang's understanding from her past life made it easy for her to converse on any topic with unique insights. There was no barrier to their communication. Imo Qishan was astounded. He felt like he had found a treasure. The duo discussed the future development trends. Ni Yang sighed and said, If we have the money, it would be great to invest in real estate, especially in Beijing and Shanghai. It would be best to buy as many houses as possible there. In this era, people are generally content with their current situations and could not imagine the significant changes in the major cities in the next 2 or 3 decades. For ordinary people, owning a couple of properties would ensure financial stability for their later years. During Ni Yang's successful past life, she read a news report about a wealthy man in China who amassed his fortune in the 1980s by investing in real estate. He was able to collect an average rent of 30 billion a month. That would be 360 billion a year. And all of this with zero investment. There was no risk involved. All he had to do was stay at home and collect the rent. Not only could he never spend this amount of money himself, but he could also leave the property for his descendants to inherit. Indeed, this was the true meaning of perpetual wealth. Mo Chishan, of course, had no idea about the future developments. Still, he nodded and kept Ni Yang's words in his mind. Having commitments in the afternoon, Mo Chishan left after dropping Ni Yang at the noodle restaurant. Just when he reached the corner of the street, a black car pulled over. Brother 6. Wu Darning got out of the car. How is the situation with sister-in-law? She is doing well. Mo Chishan replied as he got into the car. Chapter 190, Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. _4. Wu Darning drove away. Inside the car, Mo Chishan then spoke. Darning, didn't you mention before that you wanted to invest in something? Wu Darning nodded. Wu Darning was a rural man with poor living conditions in his family home. He hoped to invest his spare money into something that would increase his earnings and help his grandparents, parents, and siblings live a better life. In the 1960s and 70s, before the one-child policy, it wasn't uncommon for rural families to have 7 or 8 children. Wu Darning, being the middle child, despite having made some money while working with Mo Chishan, he was unable to provide for his large family. Invest in property. Mo Chishan then said. Wu Darning, puzzled, asked, Brother 6, are you talking about buying houses? Mo Chishan nodded. Your sixth sister-in-law is correct. In the future, property will certainly play a vital role in the economy. Investing in several houses in Beijing will be stronger than any other investment. He carefully thought about it. Actually, what Ni Yang said made a lot of sense. In these times of great change, university graduates are allocated jobs in big cities, farmers are coming to big cities to find work, individual businesses are moving to big cities. As the population increases, the rise of house prices is inevitable. Wu Darning laughed. Houses can't be eaten or worn, it's enough to have a place to live. Besides, I have a homestead in my hometown. I plan to build a brick house during the new year so the whole family can move in. In the 80s, most farmers lived in straw or mud houses. Building a brick house was a remarkable thing, equal in honor to having a college student in the family. Wu Darning's ability to build a new house in his hometown can be considered as bringing honor to the Wu family. Mo Chishan chuckled. Instead of spending money on building a house in your hometown, it would be better to buy a large house in Beijing. This way you can use it for investment and for living. It simply kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Building a house in the countryside at this time is not cheap. It is more or less like buying a house in Beijing, and buying a house may even be cheaper. Let's forget about it. Wu Darning scratched his head while laughing. My family in Beijing doesn't have any relatives. If I really bring my parents and grandparents over from my hometown, they may not be used to it. How could a house possibly appreciate in value? With Beijing's population so thin, what if he ends up with lots of vacant houses that he can't sell? Who will he cry to then? In Wu Darning's view, the suggestion to invest in property is simply unreliable. Brother 6, where are we going now? Wu Darning turned to look at Mo Chishan. To the sales office. Mo Chishan replied nonchalantly. Huh? Wu Darning looked at Mo Chishan in confusion. To buy a house. Mo Chishan explained. Wu Darning was almost crying. Brother 6, in not buying a house. He was going to go back to the countryside to build a house. I'm buying it for myself. Mo Chishan continued to say. Upon hearing that, Wu Darning heaved a sigh of relief. Brother 6, doesn't your family have enough houses? Mo Chishan lit a cigarette. To save up for the dowry. Buy a house for dowry? Was Mo Chishan kicked in the head by a donkey? Mo Chishan, as if he saw Wu Darning's concerns, laughed and said, Don't worry, your sixth sister-in-law won't be wrong. Why don't you also buy a couple of houses? No way. Wu Darning firmly replied, I need to save the money in my pocket to build a little Western-style building back in the village. A little Western-style building. By that time he could definitely dazzle those who used to look down on his family. Just thinking about this made Wu Darning somewhat excited. Mo Chishan exhaled a puff of smoke slowly. As you like. It's not right to push someone on such matters. Even when they left the sales office, Wu Darning was still in a state of bewilderment. Brother 6, shall we go back now and cancel all those houses? You shouldn't just buy so many houses because of what your sixth sister-in-law said. With so many houses, if he can't sell them in the future, he won't have a place to cry. That's not the way to court a woman. Although it's not his money, Wu Darning still feels sorry for Mo Chishan. People in love are just idiots. Mo Qixin usually seemed like a very astute person, but when he gets confused, he gets really confused. Mo Qixin just laughed. It's okay. If they eventually don't sell, he'll just consider it as a loss in gambling. Chapter 191. Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. _5. Lost in cards? What kind of card game could cost so much money? As they were talking, Mo Qixin added, in a few days we 11 be passing through Shanghai. Let's buy a few more houses in Huangfu district. Buy more? Wu Darning was speechless. Your sixth sister-in-law said, Mo Qixin continued, that only houses in Beijing and Shanghai have high investment value. Wu Darning, not daring to speak ill of Ni Yang, could only whisper, not everything your sixth sister-in-law says is necessarily right. Mo Qixin laughed. Whether it's right or not doesn't matter, what matters is that she said it. Wu Darning, hopefully Mo Qixin won't regret it later. He could only offer a slight warning and avoid saying too much. Thinking about all that money going down the drain, Wu Darning felt a twinge of pain. If he had that much money, he'd rather spend it on more food and clothes, not like Mo Qixin. Even putting it in the bank to earn interest would be better than buying houses. Sigh, Mo Qixin was the type who just did not turn back until he hit a wall. At 2:30 in the afternoon, the noodle restaurant opened on time. Even though the afternoon crowd wasn't as large as the morning, all the tables in the shop were always occupied. By dinner time there was a line forming again. Luckily, Ni Yang had prepared plenty of noodles and fish soup in advance, otherwise they wouldn't have been enough. Despite good business, Ni Yang didn't stay open too late and closed punctually at 7:30. Firstly, it was for health reasons. Secondly, it was a marketing strategy. She had to keep her customers longing, maintaining an air of mystery to attract more new customers. If the restaurant were open all the time, it might seem too cheap to customers. That night, back home, Ni Yang sat on the bed and went over the day's accounts. She found that the day's total business actually amounted to 850 yuan. The total cost of electricity, water, gas, labor, and ingredients was about 2 yuan. After deducting these, the net profit was 750 yuan. Along with the good sales of facial cleanser and aloe vera gel in the past few days, she could make around 900 yuan a day, which amounted to 27,000 yuan a month. Even though she could earn more than 20,000 yuan a month, Ni Yang was not satisfied at all. After all, in her previous life she was a boss playing with millions within minutes. She had to work harder. After securing the money, Ni Yang went to cook. Cuihua had already washed the vegetables, so Ni Yang just had to cook them. In no time Ni Yang had cooked 3 dishes and a soup. The first dish, stir-fried pork with cowpea. The Compendium of Materia Medica records that cowpeas nourish qi, strengthen kidneys and spleen. So, cowpeas are good for preventing premature aging. The second dish, braised pig's trotters. Pig's trotters are rich in collagen, which helps enhance breast volume. Although Ni Yang already had a nice figure, she still needed to maintain it. The third dish, spicy stir-fried bamboo shoots. Compendium of Materia Medica supplement notes that bamboo shoots are beneficial for the 9 orifices, circulation of blood, clearing phlegm and removing food stagnation. As such, bamboo shoots are very good for slimming. With her daily hearty diet, she had to prevent her figure from becoming misshapen. The soup is cuttlefish and winter melon soup. The Shui Residence diet says, cuttlefish cures abnormal uterine bleeding, irregular menstruation, hernia, and is most beneficial for women. The combination of cuttlefish and winter melon has a good blood-nourishing effect. Thus, this dish is very beneficial for the female friends. Just as she was setting the 3 dishes on the table, Ni Qingui arrived. Yang, how was business today? Ni Yang smiled and said, pretty good. Ni Qingui picked up the teacup and said, Yang, it's not easy for you to have achieved this. You and your mother have finally seen better days after all the hardships. I wish you more success in the future, as the saying goes, prosperity and abundance. From starting with a street stall to owning her own shop now, Ni Qingui had seen Ni Yang's growth. Others might think it was easy for her to make money and buy the shop in less than half a year. However, only Ni Qingui knew how hard it was for Ni Yang to attain this success. Every morning she woke up between 2 and 3 o'clock. Before dawn broke, she was carrying 400 to 500 kilograms of soup to market. Rain or shine, she never took a day off. Without seeing it firsthand, it would be hard to believe that a 17-year-old girl could be so hardworking and endure so much. Her resilience was even beyond that of average adults. Ni Qingui had never admired anyone before, but Ni Yang was the first. Ni Cuihua and Ni Yang raised their glasses, Thank you, Sister Chingray/Andy Chingray. Chapter 192. Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. _6. After dinner, N.I. Yang went back into the kitchen to prepare the ingredients for Mrs. Mo's breakfast the next morning. The next morning, N.I. Yang was up before 3 o'clock as usual. Firstly, she had to prepare breakfast for old Mrs. Mo, and secondly, she had to go to the shop early to prepare the fish soup and noodles. There isn't a business owner who doesn't rise early. In the deep autumn at 3 o'clock, it was still pitch black outside. There were no street lights in the rural area, and there was not a person on the road. Occasionally, one could hear the strange cries of birds, like the howling of ghosts and wolves. If it were anyone else, they would probably be scared out of their wits. But N.I. Yang was not afraid. In her previous life, what had she not experienced? In fact, ghosts are not the scariest things. What's truly terrifying is the human heart. At 4 o'clock, N.I. Yang arrived at the shop. She started simmering sour plum soup, preparing sour fish, and soon the small kitchen was filled with warm steam. Although N.I. Yang told Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang to arrive at the shop by 6 o'clock every morning, they were there at 5. Since N.I. Yang was so good to them, they couldn't be ungrateful. One should know how to repay kindness. Seeing Wang Jinfang and Zhou Qingshang, N.I. Yang exclaimed surprisingly, "Aunties, why are you so early?" Wang Jinfang and Zhou Qingshang immediately started helping. "We are used to getting up early at home and we can't sleep. It's better to come early." Both Wang Jinfang and Zhou Qingshang were mothers of several children. If this were in a later era, they certainly could not have come so early because as housewives they had to wake the children, cook for them, send them to school and take care of the children, along with a list of other chores. But at this time it was different. The children of this era were especially resilient. Normal children of 5 or 6 years old could cook by themselves. 7 or 8-year-olds were even more adept at working. The few of them worked together and soon it was 6 o'clock. As soon as the door to the noodle restaurant was opened, the waiting customers rushed in madly. Another busy day had begun. Li Gongqing was earlier this morning than yesterday, and when he delivered the meals to the Mo family, it was only a little past 8. There were guests at the Mo family today, a woman in her 30s, slender, with her back to Li Gongqing, her face somewhat unclear, but seeming pretty from her silhouette. "Old lady, this is today's breakfast." As Li Gongqing's gaze slid over the woman's face, he couldn't help but feel a chill on his scalp. He could not have imagined that the face of this woman could be so. It was beyond description. If he had to describe it, it looked like a toad's skin. Her face was filled with big and small pimples, and her forehead was covered with acne marks and pockmarks. Ordinary people also suffered from pimples, but most would have only 2 or 3. Like her, with a face full of pimples, Li Gongqing had never seen before. It was too ugly. "Aunt, seeing that you and Xiaodai are fine, I am relieved." The young woman spoke softly, her voice gentle as water. Li Gongqing was stunned again. This woman is Mrs. Mo's niece from her maternal home, Lin Pingping? What was known was that Lin Pingping used to be one of the top beauties. When did she become like this? This was too horrifying. With these complex emotions, Li Gongqing left Mo family. Inside the house, the conversation continued. Old Mrs. Mo sighed. "Ping, what exactly did the beauty specialist say about your face?" The most important thing for a girl was her face. Speaking of this topic, Lin Pingping also sighed. She didn't know how much money she had spent for this face, how many skincare products she bought, but they were all useless and it was getting worse and worse. She had been like this for over a year, and her relationship with her husband was deteriorating. Her husband didn't even want to touch her for 5 or 6 months. He bluntly stated that she was disgusting. Last month, for fear that her face would be contagious, he forcefully separated their rooms to sleep. She didn't know how much she had suffered from her mother-in-law and father-in-law. Now, there at her in-laws, even her food was served in a separate bowl. If it were not for her aunt Mrs. Mo supporting her, her husband would have divorced her a long time ago. The purpose of her visit to the Mo family today was to check up on Mrs. Mo and Mo Hudi, and also to warn her in-laws that she had someone backing her up. Although both her parents died, Lin Pingping won't allow herself to be bullied. Chapter 193. Marketing Strategy: Buy a House to Save for Wife. _7. Andy, you don't have to worry. Experts in cosmetics abroad said my face will be fine. It will heal in a short time. Lin Pingping didn't want to worry the old Mrs. Mo, whatever her age. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Mo at last sighed relief. That's good, that's good. After a pause, she continued, Ping, I hope you won't hesitate to tell your auntie anything you find difficult. Lin Pingping nodded. I know, Auntie. Mrs. Mo then asked, by the way, is Hong Bin treating you well? Do your in-laws give you a hard time? When Ping Ping saw her auntie worrying about her, she felt the urge to cry, but she held it in. Yes, they are treating me well. Especially Hong Bin. I'm such a beautiful woman he married, he wouldn't dare to treat me badly. She and Hong Bin were in a love marriage. At that time Hong Bin's family had nothing. His parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters all lived in a tiny 30-square-meter house provided by his father's office. When she told Mrs. Mo about this, she was strongly opposed. But in the end, she couldn't withstand Lin Pingping's determination. At their wedding, Mrs. Mo gave them 100,000 yuan in dowry. Lin Pingping used this money to buy a bigger house, help Hong Bin's brothers and sisters to go to school, and used her connections to help Hong Bin climb the ladder at work. This is where Hong Bin's success today comes from. But no one in his family remembers her favor. She loved Hong Bin wholeheartedly, but in the eyes of his family, that was Hong Bin's talent and even something to be flaunted before others. Look at how capable our son is, even the daughter of a rich family insists on marrying him. No one knew of her deep affection for Hong Bin hidden behind his talent. Because of her reverse dowry to Hong Bin, she had no status in his family, and regardless of her contributions, they thought it was only to be expected. Unfortunately, Lin Pingping had to silently bear the bitterness, unable to voice it out. Because she chose this path, she had no reason to go to anyone and complain. She could only bear it, regardless of how Hong Bin and his family treated her, she could only bear it. She has to cling to the last bit of her dignity. Hearing her talk like this, Mrs. Mo was relieved. Right, marrying you, such a good girl, the Hong family should count their blessings. Ping Ping, if you ever suffer any injustice, you mustn't keep it to yourself. Since your parents passed away early, your uncle and I are your surrogate parents. Speak up and we will help you stand up for yourself. She knew that Ping Ping's in-laws were something else. This is why she opposed the marriage back then. Lin Pingping nodded. Don't worry, Auntie. Mrs. Mo continued, let's not just chat, come eat breakfast. Ping Ping, listen, I recently met a young gifted doctor named Enai Yang. Not only is her cooking delicious, but her medical skill is also excellent. She is the one who cured Xiaodai. Lin Pingping exclaimed surprisingly, really? As she opened the insulated box, Mrs. Mo replied, of course. Would I lie to you? As soon as the lid of the insulated box was lifted, an overwhelming aroma filled the air. Looking at the food inside, Lin Pingping said, Auntie, have your teeth been feeling better lately, and are your eyes feeling better as well? You hardly have dizzy spells and you seem to be in a better spirit, isn't it? Mrs. Mo was surprised. Yes. How did you know? Lin Pingping smiled. I could tell by looking at the food. The food? Mrs. Mo was puzzled, then she said, Right. Enai Yang does cook delicious meal. Lin Pingping continued, Auntie, you might not know, but the food is not only delicious, there's a lot of thought behind it. Mrs. Mo asked in confusion, what do you mean? Lin Pingping picked up her chopsticks and pointed at one of the dishes. Look at this. It has mushrooms and shrimp. Mushrooms are polysaccharides that can prevent dental plaque, and shrimp are rich in calcium and can strengthen teeth. And look at this chili fried lettuce. Western medical research has found that lettuce is beneficial to the 5 internal organs, tonifies the muscles and bones, promotes heat, opens up the meridians, removes oral odor, and improves eyesight. And check out this albizia porridge. Albizia has the effect of relieving irritability, alleviating depression, calming restlessness, regulating mood, and promoting mental clarity. As a Western medicine practitioner herself, Lin Pingping could tell at a glance what benefits certain foods provided. From this, she could tell that the chef's thoughts were meticulous. The meal she prepared was suitable for seniors, and she must have done some research beforehand. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Mo was stunned. Does the food really have all those benefits? Yes. Lin Pingping nodded. Do you think I've been practicing medicine all these years for nothing? Mrs. Mo's eyes were filled with surprise. No wonder she has been feeling healthier lately. The food must have been well combined. Enai Yang really put a lot of effort into it. The most touching point to Mrs. Mo was that Enai Yang had never tried to earn credit for this in front of her. If Lin Pingping hadn't mentioned that, she wouldn't have known that there was such insight hidden in ordinary food. Enai Yang is truly a blessing to their family. Thinking of this, Mrs. Mo couldn't help but smile again. Lin Pingping continued, by the way, Auntie, I heard that something happened to Xian Xian. Is she doing better now? Chapter 194, How to be an Onlooker. Bubble TL. Hearing this question, the smile on old Madame Mo's face gradually faded. Not yet. The doctor didn't rule out the possibility that she might fall into a vegetative state. She is currently still under observation. A vegetative state? Lin Pingping was quite frightened. How could this happen? Li Xianxian is only 20 years old this year. If she truly ends up in a vegetative state, how will her future days go by? Old Madame Mo sighed. Xianxian has always been quite an obstinate child. This situation wouldn't have occurred otherwise. Lin Pingping reached out and held old Madame Mo's hand. Auntie, don't worry. Xianxian is a good girl. She will definitely be okay. I hope so. Old Madame Mo sighed softly. Come, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's eat. Lin Pingping nodded and served old Madame Mo a bowl of porridge before serving herself. Having received excellent etiquette training, Lin Pingping didn't make any noise while eating. However, right as the porridge went down her throat, she couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. My goodness! The taste was simply amazing. Lin Pingping had never known that a simple bowl of porridge could taste so delicious. She immediately reached out and grabbed some lettuce heart. The lettuce heart was cooked to perfection. It was crisp, refreshing, with a tinge of spiciness that winded around her tongue and teeth. The aftertaste was endless, making one want to take a second bite after the first. Upon seeing Lin Pingping's reaction, old Madame Mo smiled and asked, How was it? The taste was good, wasn't it? Lin Pingping quickly nodded. Good? It's more than good. It's absolutely delicious. Lin Ping had assumed with such nutritious food the taste would be minimal. To her surprise, the taste was incredible. The most humble ingredients had been used to create extraordinarily impressive flavors. It was obvious that the cook had an ingeniously versatile heart. If it's delicious, then eat more. Don't go trying to be like those other girls, starving themselves for the sake of looking good. Old Madame Mo added more porridge into Pingping's bowl. The aunt and niece enjoyed their meal. Grandma, Auntie. Mo Baichuan entered the room and greeted. Baichuan, you look increasingly energetic, Lin Pingping said with a laugh. How about it? Have you found a girlfriend yet? I'm not in a hurry. Mo Baichuan sat on the sofa opposite them. Lin Pingping continued, You're not getting any younger. Time to get serious. At this point, Mo Qishan had descended from upstairs. Mo Baichuan immediately stated, These things should be arranged by the elders first. Mo Qishan had just been dumped by Zhao Jingrong, and people were still gossiping about it. Mo Baichuan was purposely stirring the pot. Old Madame Mo knew that the relationship between this nephew and uncle had always been tense. Mo Baichuan was a remarkably outstanding person, already a big leader at the age of 26. As for Mo Qishan, he was already 27 and yet he remains unaccomplished and idle, naturally generating friction. One being her son and the other her grandson, with none of them being in the wrong, old Madame Mo found it difficult to mediate the situation, so she could only pamper them and find ways to mediate. Lin Pingping could also sense the underlying tension between them and tried to shift the focus. Your sixth uncle is your sixth uncle and you are you. We are discussing something with your grandma right now. Without showing any anger or embarrassment, Mo Qishan walked over and said nonchalantly, You, my impressive nephew, need not worry about your sixth auntie's affairs. Somehow, Mo Baichuan found the word impressive to be a bit grating. Was it just his imagination? As an underachiever, Mo Qishan had no right to mock others. If it weren't for his seniority, Mo Baichuan would never tolerate sharing a room with such a person. In his workplace, someone like Mo Qishan wouldn't even qualify to serve him tea or water. After saying this, Mo Qishan greeted Lin Pingping and old Madame Mo. My dear, I have some business to attend to, so I won't entertain you for now. Remember to stay for dinner tonight. Lin Pingping cheerfully replied, You go handle your business, don't worry about me. Busy doing what? A look of derision flashed in Mo Baichuan's eyes. Besides chasing women and fooling around, what serious business could Mo Qishan have? Every time he thought about Mo Qishan going out to chase after Ni Yang, a surge of nameless anger rose within Mo Baichuan. Such an adult man being completely taken in by that little girl Ni Yang. No wonder he was still a good-for-nothing at 27. How to remain indifferent. Bubble tea _2. Indeed, him being labeled a waste by the outside world wasn't without reason. The conflict between uncle and nephew subtly spread across the room, with an oppressive atmosphere taking over. Old Lady Mo shifted the conversation smilingly. Baichuan, Xianxian is still hospitalized, have you visited her? Upon hearing this, Mo Baichuan seemed to have been reminded of something to which he replied, Grandma, didn't you mention last time that you wanted Ni Yang to look into her condition? Old Lady Mo sighed. Indeed she went. But Yang Yang says she specializes in difficult and complicated diseases and she doesn't know what to do when it comes to physical injuries. Mo Baichuan slightly furrowed his brows. According to his current investigation, Ni Yang's medical skills were indeed good. She cured Yang Gobeo's epilepsy and even cured Mo Hudi's stubborn illness, which had earned Dr. Ace's admiration. How could such a person be helpless against a minor injury? Could it be that she just didn't want to treat Li Xianxian? Then why wouldn't she want to treat Li Xianxian? Everyone says that doctors must show benevolence. Where was Ni Yang's benevolence? Could it be just because Li Xianxian was an orphan, lacking the financial and influential backing provided by the Mo family, that she didn't want to cure her? Or was it because Ni Yang didn't want to save Li Xianxian because of him? Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes as he pondered, increasingly feeling that this was the case. After all, old lady Mo saw Li Xianxian as her future granddaughter-in-law, and Ni Yang had her own ulterior motives towards him. In this case, Li Xianxian was his main rival in love in the eyes of Ni Yang. This explanation made sense. After all, who would save their own love rival? Right, it must be this way. Mo Baichuan had always been meticulous in his thought processes, his deductive abilities far surpassing that of average persons, and the conclusions that he inferred were usually not far from the truth. Ni Yang was truly malicious, choosing to stand by and watch Li Xianxian's demise just for the sake of having him to herself. What right did she even have to be a doctor? The expression on Mo Baichuan's face grew increasingly dark. Seeing him like this, old lady Mo asked in concern, "Chuan, what are you thinking?" Only then did Mo Baichuan snap back to reality. "Nothing, I'll pay a visit to Li Xianxian." Old lady Mo laughed. "This child, why are you calling her by her full name?" "I'm leaving." Mo Baichuan picked up his suit on the sofa and strode towards the door. Old lady Mo stood up and called after him, "Chuan, could you also check with Dr. Wang about Xiangxian's current condition on your way?" Without turning his head, Mo Baichuan replied, "Got it." Old lady Mo returned to the sofa and let out a slight sigh. Lin Pingping remarked, "It seems like it's possible for Baichuan and Xianxian to be together." Old lady Mo chuckled and said, "Who knows? This boy is always up to something. Furthermore, Xianxian currently is..." The rest of her words went unsaid. "Auntie, don't worry, Xianxian will definitely be fine. And by the way, there's a nice girl in our office. I'm thinking about introducing her to the youngest one. What do you think?" Lin Pingping interjected. At this, old lady Mo's spirits lifted. "Really?" Lin Pingping nodded. Old lady Mo asked excitedly, "What does the girl look like? What's her character? Is she good-natured?" The most important factors for her now were the girl's character and appearance. Family background was not that important. Lin Pingping smiled and said, "Her character and appearance are quite good. She's from a scholarly family. Her maternal grandfather was once a local scholar." Old lady Mo nodded her approval. Good. Scholarly families are great. I love those who can reason." In old lady Mo's heart, her favorite candidate was Ni Yang. However, Ni Yang was clearly not an ordinary person and old lady Mo worried that Ni Yang might not be interested in Mo Qixin. So she had never mentioned this matter. Now that Lin Pingping had a suitable person on her side, it was not a bad idea to introduce her to Mo Qixin. After all, love at first sight might happen. Things related to fate are unpredictable. Lin Pingping continued, "Let's settle with this then. I will talk to the girl once I am back and later I will call you." "Alright Pingping, thanks for your help," old lady Mo said and then asked, "By the way Pingping, what's the name of the girl you mentioned earlier? How old is she?" Lin Pingping laughed and said, "Look at me, I was so excited that I forgot to tell you the important details. The girl's name is Huang Ran, she is 22 years old and a college graduate. Though only holding a college diploma, she still held a better status than Mo Qixin. Mo Qixin hadn't even completed high school. He simply had no right to be picky." Old lady Mo nodded her head. "That's perfectly fine then. Let's go with this." How to stand by and do nothing. Bubble Tea_3. Grandma Aunt, are you going to find an aunt for Uncle? Mo Hudi suddenly appeared, her bright eyes stared at Mrs. Mo and Lin Pingping. These days, Mo Hudi's condition bettered each day. She who originally weighed only 30 kilograms, now weighed 45 kilograms. She used to walk slowly but now she can run. Lin Pingping gave Mo Hudi's head a gentle pat. "Yes, we are looking for an aunt for your uncle." Mo Hudi tilted her head and thought for a moment. "I think Sister Ni Yang is very good." Old lady Mo laughed gently. As if suddenly remembering something, Lin Pingping took out a long box from her bag. Oh Hughie, Aunt Ping Ping has prepared a gift for you, open it and see. Perhaps because Mo Hughie had a similar experience to hers, she couldn't help but feel pained when she looked at Mo Hughie. Mo Hughie couldn't wait to open the box and exclaimed joyfully, "Wow! A Picasso pen. Thank you Aunt Ping Ping." Over the years, although Mo Hughie had always been sick and never went to school, she was exceptionally bright. Under the guidance of home tutors, she had mastered subjects beyond high school, showing particular talent in literature. She enjoyed practicing handwriting and writing in her spare time, which was her only hobby over the years. A good pen was a more precious gift for her than anything else. Lin Ping Ping smiled and said, "Pin, glad you like it, Hughie." Mo Baichuan made a trip to the hospital. Li Xiangxian's condition wasn't looking well. She lay on the bed, looking like a lifeless corpse with a horrifyingly pale face. Mo Baichuan couldn't understand how Ni Yang, being a doctor herself, could idly stand by witnessing Li Xianxian in such a state. Did she not have even a shred of sympathy left in her? To win his favor, Ni Yang really was resorting to any means. And that Mo Qishan was an idiot too. He had lost sense of right and wrong. How could he not see through Ni Yang's poor acting? He was an embarrassment, and if the century-old foundation of the Mo family were to fall into his hands, then the demise of the Mo family was not far off. Mo Baichuan was deeply frustrated. Today was Ni Yang's second day of business, and it was still booming, but the sour plum soup did not sell as well as she had imagined. She prepared over 2,000 servings of sour plum soup, and by noon only 500 cups had been sold. Just so you know, over 1,500 servings of pickled fish noodles were sold out. If the sales of sour plum soup don't pick up, she would make less money each day. This couldn't go on. Ni Yang was taking orders and counting money while thinking about her situation when she went into the kitchen to serve noodles. She overheard the following conversation in the bustling dining hall. "Mommy, I want to drink the sour plum soup." The young mother whispered quietly, "Sweetie, sour plum soup is for heat relief and can only be drunk in summer. Drinking it in winter is not good for the stomach." No, I want to drink it. You'll catch a cold and need an injection. Are you scared of injections?" The child immediately stopped asking for sour plum soup. "Mommy, you'll be a good boy and eat my noodles. I don't want an injection." After hearing this, Ni Yang knew what to do. She smiled faintly, striding swiftly to the back. By 7:30 in the evening, Ni Yang promptly finished business as usual. The noodles were all sold out, while quite a few sour plum soups were left. Ni Yang took 2 jars and filled them with the sour plum soup, giving one to Zhou Qingshang and one to Wang Jinfeng. "Auntie Zhou, Aunt Jinfeng, the sour plum soup is nothing special. Take it home and let the kids have a taste." Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfeng declined it again and again, but they couldn't resist Ni Yang's enthusiasm. Ni Yang was a good boss and knew how to win people's hearts. She knew what to do to ensure her employees worked faithfully. Giving away the sour plum soup would not only flatter them but also prevent wastage. Why not do something that is of mutual benefit? After work, Ni Yang didn't immediately head home. Instead, she went to buy some fish and noodles. The noodle seller and Ni Yang had become good friends. "Ni Yang, why did you come personally again? Didn't I tell you I would have uncle deliver the noodles to you every morning?" Ni Yang was pretty and had a sweet mouth. She knew that doing business wasn't easy, so when she bought noodles she never bargained. The noodle-selling couple liked her very much. How to stand by and do nothing. Bubble tea _4. Ni Yang said with a smile, "I just came over intending to buy some other things. Auntie, do you have cassava flour here?" Yes, we do. I'll get it for you right away." The noodle shop owner's wife turned around to fetch the cassava flour for Ni Yang. Yang, how much do you want?" Ni Yang thought for a moment. "Give me 2 caddies for now." "All right." The shop's owner's wife weighed a full 2 caddies of cassava flour and handed it to Ni Yang. "Auntie, how much is it?" The owner's wife said with a smile. "Never mind, it's just a bit of cassava flour." Ni Yang ordered over 60 yuan worth of noodles from her every day, so a bit of cassava flour really wasn't much. Since Ni Yang was so generous with them, they couldn't be stingy either. It's a two-way street after all. "Thank you then, Auntie." Ni Yang took the cassava flour and continued, "By the way, how much is this cassava flour per caddy? I might order in large quantities in the future." The owner's wife lowered her voice. "I sell it to others at 1 cent per caddy, but I'll give it to you for 8 cents. Ni Yang thanked her with a smile. After buying everything, Ni Yang hopped on her bike to ride home. She had to pass Li Dongliang's shop on the way back. However, when that familiar figure flashed past on the road, Li Wei, who was engrossed in cementing his English knowledge, suddenly brightened up. Was that An Yang? When he realized it was An Yang, Li Wei quickly went after her. Unfortunately, An Yang was too fast, and Li Wei couldn't catch up with her. With no other choice, Li Wei returned to his notes, feeling dejected. He had originally planned to ask An Yang where she had disappeared to these past few days. Xiaowei, what's wrong? Qian Jinfeng came out of the shop, looking puzzled at her precious son. Li Wei put on a smile. Nothing, I just thought I saw An Yang. An Yang? Qian Jinfeng frowned slightly. Is she back selling at the stall? Didn't she rent her stall to someone else? I don't know. After leaving this remark, Li Wei walked into the building looking glum. Qian Jinfeng was left standing there with mixed feelings. Why has An Yang come back? Where is she selling now? Is her business good? Is she back to seduce her precious son? She can't allow her son to get entangled with the likes of her, so Qian Jinfeng ran after Li Wei, speaking gravely. Xiaowei, you're a senior high school student now, and next year you're going to take the college entrance exam. You absolutely can't let yourself get distracted at a time like this. An Yang might have a pretty face, but can a face provide meals? From what I can see, I doubt she even finished primary school. How could she possibly be good enough for you? You're going to be a university student. I got it. Li Wei responded casually, then with a thud, closed the door behind him. Qian Jinfeng didn't give up and continued to ramble outside the door. Inside, Li Wei directly tore off 2 small pieces of paper and stuffed them into his ears. After An Yang got home, she began preparing to make a new beverage. She had already thought about it during the day. Given that sour plum soup, a cold drink, wasn't suitable for winter, she could create a hot drink. A steaming cup of hot milk tea in winter not only warms the body but the stomach as well. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Let's do it then. An Yang brought out the cassava flour she had bought, mixed it with brown sugar and water to make into small balls, boiled them until they were cooked, and voila, she had black tapioca pearls. Once the pearls were ready, An Yang opened a tin of tea leaves, scooped out a small handful and placed them in a pot, added water, and boiled it until the tea was the right color, followed by adding milk and simmering it on low heat. At this point, the aroma of the milk and tea fusion began to permeate the air. The scent was rich and intoxicating. An Yang took 3 cups, placed a small spoonful of the pearls inside each, followed by the freshly brewed milk tea. After all of this, An Yang brought the milk tea to the living room. When An Yang came over, An Chingue knew that what An Yang was carrying was probably something new and exciting. Yang, An Chingue asked with a smile, did you come up with another new drink? An Yang nodded, placing the brewed milk tea on the table. Auntie and I, Mum, this is the milk tea I just brewed, try it. Milk tea. An Chingue perked up at this. I had this when I was on a business trip in Inner Mongolia. An Yang said with a smile, then try it and see if mine is as good as the one you had in Inner Mongolia. How to stand by and watch. Bubble tea under. An Chingue stirred with his spoon, surprised when he saw the black granules inside. Yang, what's this black thing? He hadn't seen anything like this when he was drinking this in Inner Mongolia. An Yang explained, it's tapioca pearls made from cassava flour. Can it be eaten? An Chingue asked. Yes, it can, Nayang nodded. An Chingue took a sip from his spoon and was met with a rich milky fragrance, followed by a fresh tea aroma and a subtle fruity scent, all lingering in the mouth for a long time. The tapioca pearls were chewy with a really nice texture, similar to that of fruit candy but much tastier. It was far tastier than the milk tea he had back in Inner Mongolia. An Chingue's face was full of surprise. Seeing Chengu's reaction, Suehua knew the milk tea must taste good, so she immediately picked up her cup and took a sip. Yum. Indeed, the taste did not disappoint her. Since the milk tea received such high praise, An Yang made 2 more pounds of tapioca pearls that evening to serve at the noodle restaurant the following day. After prepping for the next day, An Yang went on to make some facial cleanser and aloe vera gel. With the blender, she didn't have to think much about making skincare products. Since villagers kept bringing her aloe vera, An Yang was not worried about running out of stock. An Yang was sorting out her skincare products when Chingray walked in. Yang, the freckle-removing cream you made last time is really good. I want to have 2 more sets. By the way, my colleague's sister is having acne problems. Can you make any acne-removing cream? He asked. Acne? An Yang slightly raised her eyebrows. It depends on the type of acne. Is it caused by heatiness? Is it serious? Actually, aloe vera gel could suffice for mild acne, but if it's severe, the gel could only serve as an auxiliary inflammation reducer. An Chingue continued, It's not that severe, but it isn't mild either. She has about 8 or 9 pimples and it doesn't seem to be caused by heatiness. My colleague said his sister doesn't eat spicy food. And Young nodded. All right, please tell her if she can wait a day, I'll make it for her. The acne cream will be the same price as the freckle cream. Chingui took the cream from Young with one hand and handed over the money with the other. Fine, it's a deal. The market for acne products is actually pretty large. It's arguably better than that for freckle removal. So once Chingui left, Yang started researching acne products. For products applied to the face, safety comes first, and only pure, unpolluted ingredients should be used. Why couldn't domestically produced skincare products keep their foothold in the market? Because of their unethical practices. They made inferior products and charged a fortune. Customers aren't fools. All of a sudden an idea popped into Yang's mind. She took a flashlight and went to the vegetable garden. When she came back she had a handful of portulaca. Portulaca is a kind of wild grass, edible and medicinal. According to traditional Chinese medicine, portulaca can be used for clearing heat, promoting urination, detoxification, reducing inflammation, quenching thirst, and diuresis. In fact, portulaca has a significant effect that is often overlooked: acne removal. After Yang cleaned and blended the portulaca, she added some honey and a secret formula, turning it into a paste. This was how she made the acne removal cream. Of course, Yang wouldn't hastily sell the products she made. After washing her face, she applied a bit of cream on the skin behind her ears. Only after confirming there was no issue would she proceed to sell it. The first thing she did the next morning was to check the acne cream she applied the night before. Very good. The skin in the mirror was fair and showed no abnormalities. Yang hummed a tune in satisfaction, packed a box of skincare products to the back seat of the bike, and then nonchalantly went to wash up. Shortly after, noises could be heard from the kitchen. She finished all these just after 3 in the morning. By the time Cuihua and Chingui got up, Yang had already ridden off on her bike. As it was the first day of selling milk tea, Yang followed her usual routine by giving away a cup of milk tea to every noodle customer. The milk tea came in both hot and normal temperature versions. Everyone was drinking milk tea for the first time, so as expected, Yang received countless positive reviews. How to stay uninvolved. Bubble tea _6. Because the cost of milk tea is much higher than sour plum soup, Yang plans to sell it for 3 cents a cup. Although the price is a little higher than sour plum soup, compared to drinks like Jianlibo and Debailly soda, it's a lot cheaper so diners can accept it. Little boss, your milk tea is good. I'd like to take a cup back for my son to try. Could you give me an extra one? Yang smiled and said, if you order another bowl of noodles I can give you an extra cup. With so many customers in the shop she couldn't break her rules. If she gave everyone an extra cup she wouldn't need to do business anymore. What if I buy it alone? Yang explained, if you buy it alone it's 3 cents a cup. The promotion of getting milk tea with noodles is only for today. There won't be any tomorrow morning. Alright, then cook another bowl of noodles for me. Only a fool would buy just 1 cup. People of this era have small appetites because they lack nutritious food so they eat a lot. She could even eat 2 more bowls, let alone 1 more. After finishing her morning work, Yang took her skincare products to Wang Meifeng's unit during lunch break. Aunt Wang, here are the facial cleanser and aloe vera gel you wanted. Oh, and these samples are for acne treatment and freckle removal. You can give them to people with acne and freckles. If they like it they can buy it from me. Wang Meifeng took the box. Alright Yang, I got it. Thanks to Yang's skincare products, Wang Meifeng is now extremely popular at the company. Everywhere she goes, people take the initiative to greet her, and even many people she doesn't know come to find her. Even a number of leaders have bought skincare products from her. This isn't because she's selling Yang's skincare products, but because Yang indirectly helped her expand her network. As the saying goes, the more people the better things will go. Who doesn't have a little trouble at home? Not only did Yang cure Yang Guobao for her, but she also did her such a big favor. Yang is simply her benefactor in life. After returning to her office, Wang Meifeng was immediately surrounded by a group of colleagues. Meifeng, how about it? Does the ice skin jade flesh from Divine Doctor have any stock now? Yes. Wang Meifeng laughed and distributed the skincare products to everyone, then gave the samples for acne and freckle removal to colleagues with acne and freckles. Lu Fen watched with her eyes turning red. She also wanted to buy a set of ice skin jade flesh from Wang Meifeng, but she didn't have the face to ask, especially since she had previously mocked Wang Meifeng, calling it skincare products for ugly faces. She regretted it. She shouldn't have done that back then. Lu Fen wished she could slap herself a few times. After a long struggle, Lu Fen finally saw Wang Meifeng at the bathroom door. She mustered up the courage to approach her and initiated the conversation. "Meifeng, are you going to the bathroom?" Upon hearing this, Wang Meifeng got goosebumps all over her body. "What's up? Why are you acting so strange? Besides going to the bathroom, what else could I do in the bathroom?" Lu Fen laughed and said, "Meifeng, I'm sorry for what happened before. It was all because of my narrow mind. Please don't take it seriously. I'm the kind of person who has a bad mouth but a good heart," Wang Meifeng said. "With your good heart, you could curse your relatives with ugly faces and unable to marry." Lu Fen gave a dry laugh. "Meifeng, you know all about it. I'm sorry at that time I was led astray. I didn't mean it." Actually, Lu Fen's apology seemed quite sincere. Wang Meifeng didn't beat around the bush and said bluntly, "Just say what you want." Lu Fen stuttered, I want to buy a set of ice-skin jade flesh." Wang Meifeng couldn't help but laugh. "Lu Fen, are you not afraid of having an ugly face anymore?" Lu Fen immediately said, "Meifeng, I really realized my mistake. I swear I won't do that again in the future. Could you sell me a set?" From a personal perspective, Wang Meifeng didn't want to sell the skincare products to Lu Fen, given the grudges between them. But make friends, not enemies. And Yang is doing business and offending people isn't good. If she doesn't sell to Lu Fen this time, what if Lu Fen spreads rumors and makes trouble next time? Business people are most afraid of trouble coming their way. She couldn't let her personal matters affect Yang's business. Moreover, Lu Fen could have asked someone else to buy it for her, but she didn't, which shows that Lu Fen has truly repented. In this case, there was no need for her to hold on to Lu Fen's faults, bearing in mind that Lu Fen had never apologized to anyone besides the leaders before. How to stand by and watch. Bubble T_7 No matter what, she had won this battle. Wang Meifeng continued, "I can sell the item to you, but you must promise not to stir up any more rumors from now on." Okay. Lu Fen quickly nodded in agreement. "I swear." Upon returning to the office, Wang Meifeng gave Lu Fen the facial cleanser and aloe vera gel. "By the way, I noticed a few freckles on your face. Would you like to try this freckle-removing cream?" Yes, thank you, Meifeng." Lu Fen was moved to tears. Seeing Lu Fen like this, everyone in the office thought they were hallucinating. My goodness, what had turned the sharp-tongued and mean Lu Fen into this? But this was a good thing. After all, everyone worked together in the same office. If they were always at odds, it would affect their work to some degree. Sun Mei walked over and discreetly gave Wang Meifeng a thumbs up. "Meifeng, you're amazing. Even the old hag Lu Fen is totally subdued by you." Wang Meifeng laughed and said, "It's all because of the great ice skin and jade flesh effect from the divine doctor." On her way home after work, Wang Meifeng bumped into an acquaintance. The acquaintance was none other than Lin Pingping. "Pingping, are you coming from your aunt's house?" Wang Meifeng initiated the conversation. Lin Pingping nodded. "Yeah, I stayed at my aunt's house last night." "Oh." Wang Meifeng nodded. "Since you're free, why don't you come over to my place? You can have dinner at my house and we can have a good chat." Lin Pingping laughed and said, "I'll visit another time. I have some chores to do at home." After a brief exchange of pleasantries, they both turned to leave. Wang Meifeng had just turned around when it seemed as if she suddenly remembered something. "Pingping, wait. What's up?" Wang Meifeng slipped 2 small boxes into Lin Pingping's hand. "This is acne-removing cream. It's developed by the divine doctor and it's really effective. Try it when you get home." To instill more confidence, Wang Meifeng added, "This is from that same divine doctor who cured Xiao Dai." Lin Pingping looked puzzled. "Can a doctor make skincare products?" "It's called medicinal beauty." Wang Meifeng continued, "It's really good. You must try it." Lin Pingping casually tossed the acne cream into her purse. "All right then. I'll take off first. See you." Wang Meifeng waved goodbye to Lin Pingping. Lin Pingping, as someone who has been through it all, knew that Wang Meifeng's smile was genuine. She also knew that Wang Meifeng was leading a happy life. Unlike her. Lin Pingping sighed softly and then headed home. When she reached her apartment, Lin Pingping saw her tidy in-laws followed by her husband, Hong Bin. "Dad, Mom, Hong Bin, where are you guys heading?" Her father-in-law and mother-in-law looked away in disgust, as if they might contaminate their eyes if they looked at Lin Pingping for too long. Hong Bin also avoided looking directly at his wife's face. When he spoke, his eyes seemed to wander. My cousin is having a full moon banquet for her baby. My parents and I are going to join the celebration. The full moon banquet is a major event. Lin Pingping immediately said, "Let me get ready and go with you." "You're going?" her mother-in-law Xinqing sneered. "Are you planning to scare everyone with your ugliness? Isn't it enough how much we've already been made fun of? You're embarrassing us. My poor Binbin is entirely out of luck to have married you." These words were truly hurtful. But hearing them over and over again, Lin Pingping had grown accustomed to it. She had become numb. Even her husband, who had once made sincere vows of love to her, was silent and didn't come to Lin Pingping's defense at all. He was indifferent like a stranger. Before Lin Pingping could say anything, Xinqing extended her hand towards her. "You went to the Imo family yesterday. Did they give you any money again? Hand it over. Everything in this house, from the social interactions to the cooking oil and salt, requires money. Don't think about stashing it away." Lin Pingping's voice was very calm. "I didn't take any money from my aunt." "What? You didn't?" Upon hearing this, Xinqing flew into a rage. "You worthless wench. Do you think our home is a bank? They give us money and you refuse to take it. Don't you understand? Everything you eat and drink belongs to my son. You're a cheap good-for-nothing who married into our family out of desperation." Xinqing was a classic evil mother-in-law. Having been ill-treated by her own mother-in-law, when she had finally become a mother-in-law herself, she, of course, wanted to assert her power. Moreover, Lin Pingping had married into the family of her own volition. Xinqing's sneering immediately attracted the attention of other people in the same building. She had to begrudgingly close her mouth. It was only then that Hongbin raised his head to look at Lin Pingping and sighed helplessly. "Don't blame my mom for her harsh words. She has a point. Since the Imo family has money, why should it be an issue if they share some with us? Look at your cousin Baichuan from the Imo family. A watch on his wrist is as expensive as a house. And Imo Chishan, that spendthrift, he's already 27 and doesn't have a proper job, completely dependent on his family. What does that tell you? That the Imo family certainly isn't short of money. Let it go this time, learn to be smarter next time. Whatever they offer, accept it, don't act modestly." Hongbin said a lot in one breath. As Lin Pingping recalled Wang Maifeng's smiling face, she felt both frustrated and angry. Her heart ached. She didn't wait for Hongbin to finish and turned around to walk away. "This ugly woman. She dared to show us attitude. Does she even respect me as her mother-in-law? Divorce. I want a divorce tomorrow. Let's see who would want this ugly woman." Xinqing jumped up angrily. Hongbin said, "Let it go, Mom. Don't stoop to her level. Let's head over to my aunt's place first and deal with her later." After Lin Pingping came back, she opened the door to her room and lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. She had become ugly now, but when she married Hongbin, she was one of the most beautiful women. When exactly did her life take such a downturn? After a while, Lin Pingping mindlessly tossed her purse on her vanity, creating a clattering sound as something fell out of it. She turned her head to see. It turned out to be the acne cream Wang Meifeng gave her. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the CGI acne cream? Lin Pingping's ears suddenly echoed with Wang Meifeng's words. Wang Meifeng had said that this acne cream was very effective and was made by the divine doctor. But over the years she had already used too many acne products that claimed to be effective, including cosmetics medications developed by foreign professors. Yet her face seemed to have developed immunity to these products. No matter what was applied, it couldn't prevent acne from growing. Would this tiny box of acne cream really work? Lin Pingping sat up from the bed and picked up the light green box. Lifting the lid, her eyes met a light brown, cream-like substance. It had a subtle fragrance, carrying with it hints of green grass and a faint smell of medicine. Lin Pingping was a Western medicine practitioner. She knew that these were common ingredients, perhaps useful for ordinary acne, but they had no effect on her. Lin Pingping sighed quietly and absent-mindedly set the acne cream on the dresser. Seeing her face reflected in the mirror of the dressing table, her eyes suddenly reddened. Lin Pingping wanted to cry her heart out, but she couldn't. Just then the sound of the door opening came from outside. "Mom, I'm back. Make me a meal. I'm starving. Where are you?" It was the voice of her younger sister-in-law Hong Meiyue. She was lazy and ambitious, a giant baby at 23. Yet she was the apple of Xinqing's and Hong Dabing's eyes. Lin Pingping took a deep breath, opened the door and walked out. "Yair is back." Hong Meiyue saw her come out and commanded like ordering a servant. "Oh, you're home? Why didn't you say anything? Are you acting like a dead person? Hurry and cook for me, I'm hungry." Lin Pingping squeezed a thin smile from the corner of her mouth. Okay, just wait a moment. Hong Meiwei continued, never mind, don't cook. What's the matter, Yaya? Lin Pingping looked at Hong Meiwei puzzled. Hong Meiwei spoke in disgust. Look at your disgusting face. What if it infects me? I'll eat out instead, give me money. Lin Pingping looked at Hong Meiwei. I don't have any money. I gave all of last month's salary to Mom. In the Hong family, every penny of her monthly salary was handed over to Shinqing. No money? Hong Meiwei squinted. Didn't you receive a bonus last month? Where's that bonus? Did you hide it behind my mom's back to keep as private money? Lin Pingping did indeed receive a bonus last month. That bonus had been spent on a Picasso pen for Mo Hudi. An imported Picasso pen cost 200 yuan, amounting to several months of Lin Pingping's salary. No bonus was given. Of course, Lin Pingping wouldn't be foolish enough to tell Hong Meiwei about buying the pen. Oh, said Hong Meiwei, I see. You probably secretly went to the beauty salon to treat your face again, didn't you? I told you before, your face will never get better. Going to the beauty salon is just wasting money. You just wait until my mom and brother come back, they'll tell them what you did. As she said the last sentence, a gloating expression appeared on Hong Meiwei's face. Whatever you want. Lin Pingping spoke indifferently. Stunned, Hong Meiwei punched the cotton, angered and speechless. She had thought that Lin Pingping would have been frightened by her words and bribed her with money. Ugly wretch. Despicable woman. Hong Meiwei spoke viciously. Lin Pingping didn't say anything more and simply turned around and walked out. Where are you going? Hong Meiwei asked furiously. Lin Pingping didn't respond to her. Hong Meiwei was seething with anger. Ugly freak. Just you wait, sooner or later I'll make my brother divorce you. Upon hearing the word divorce, Lin Pingping's steps stuttered for a moment. Divorce? No. She couldn't get a divorce. If she was divorced, she would have nothing left. No matter what, she wouldn't get divorced. Lin Pingping clenched her fist. The weather outside was beautiful. The sun was shining brightly, the sky was cloudless, and even the wind was warm. Lin Pingping didn't have a specific destination and wandered aimlessly. Until she saw a noodle restaurant with a closed sign on it did she finally stopped. To be precise, she was attracted by the girl inside the shop who was wiping tables. The girl was truly beautiful. As Lin Pingping looked at her, it was as if she saw herself from over a decade ago. At that time she was just like her, brilliant, beautiful, young. Dumbfounded, Lin Pingping watched, her eyes filled with longing and envy. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _2. It is wonderful to be young. After a moment, Lin Pingping took her eyes away, walking forward absent-mindedly. She didn't even realize she had bumped into someone. Aunt, are you all right? Only then did Lin Pingping react. I'm fine. The young man who was bumped didn't say much. He carried a book in his hand and kept walking forward. He stopped in front of this sour fish noodle restaurant. A middle-aged lady came out with a smile. I'm sorry, young man, we're closed now. We will be open at 2:30 in the afternoon. The young man responded. I am here to find An Yang. Is she here? The middle-aged woman nodded. Oh, you're looking for Yang Yang. Hang on, I'll call her for you. As Zhou Qingshang spoke, she walked towards the kitchen. In a moment An Yang came out. Upon seeing the young man she paused before saying, Li Wei? Indeed it was Li Wei. Having seen An Yang on the street last night, Li Wei had made some inquiries and found that An Yang had opened a noodle restaurant here. At first, Li Wei couldn't believe that An Yang would open a noodle restaurant, and only standing inside the restaurant did he realize that An Yang had indeed opened one. First a stall and now a restaurant. An Yang was beyond his imagination. An Yang, it's been a long time since we last met. I thought you left Beijing. I didn't expect you to open a noodle restaurant. Congratulations. An Yang smiled. Thank you. Li Wei continued, I am puzzled by a math problem. Could you help me with it? An Yang nodded. Sure. Li Wei genuinely needed An Yang's assistance in a math problem. It was a very difficult problem, one which not even the class monitor could solve. In this era, Chinese students had not yet had any exposure to Olympiad problems and were unfamiliar with the international standard. Li Wei was only dealing with Olympiad problems because the teacher in their class had studied abroad. An Yang took the test paper and began to ponder before she started solving. She was far removed from her previous life as a student. Facing this Olympiad problem, she was slightly dazed initially. She had to reorganize some knowledge points. Seeing her like this, Li Wei felt a little better. He had thought An Yang was capable of everything. As it turned out, there were problems An Yang could not solve either. That's right. The Olympiad problems were foreign. How could An Yang solve them? However, in the next moment, An Yang stunned Li Wei. She started to write down the process of solving the problem stroke by stroke. Not only did she have the correct answer, but her solution was even clearer than the teacher's. You take a look, An Yang returned the paper to Li Wei. In mathematics, all logical thinking is the same. The formula I have just written can be applied universally. Even if you go to university and study advanced mathematics later, the logic will remain the same. Li Wei nodded, a look of surprise in his eyes. He didn't even know what to say. After a while he came back to his senses. An Yang, thank you very much. You're welcome, An Yang smiled gently. Li Wei glanced around the noodle restaurant. Then he continued, An Yang, the rent for such a large noodle shop must be expensive, isn't it? His family paid more than 150 yuan a month for a small shop. This shop of An Yang's must be even larger, thus could be assumed to be pricier. An Yang laughed, not very expensive, I bought this restaurant. She bought it? An Yang actually bought the restaurant. Li Wei swallowed back the words, if you need help you can ask me. An Yang had bought her own restaurant, while his family was still renting a shop. What could he possibly help An Yang with? The last shred of superiority in Li Wei's heart vanished. He even forgot how he had left An Yang's restaurant. He walked home still a little absent-minded. He didn't know what happened to him. When he first met An Yang, she was just a simple village girl with nothing. In just a few short months, An Yang had become a person who was superior to him in every way. Luckily, An Yang had dropped out of school by now. Otherwise, if he stood by An Yang, he would hardly even feel his existence. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _3. Once she became a university student, her experiences increased and her social circle expanded. An Yang would definitely not be as good as herself. Xiaowei, did you just go to see An Yang? Qian Jinfeng came over from the side. Yes. Li Wei didn't hide it and simply nodded his head. Qian Jinfeng continued, did you find out where An Yang is renting a stall now? She didn't rent a stall. Didn't rent a stall? As Qian Jinfeng was puzzled, she heard Li Wei continue, An Yang has now bought her own shop. The noodle restaurant that just opened a few days ago and became very popular, that's An Yang's doing. What? Qian Jinfeng felt a sour pang in her heart when she heard this. Bought a shop? A shop costs 20 or 30,000 yuan. With renovation and all, it costs nearly 40,000 yuan. An Yang can actually afford to buy a shop. Their family had always wanted to buy a shop, but the business in the past few years was barely making ends meet. It was only in the past 2 years that things had started to improve, but they still lacked the money to buy even half a shop. Qian Jinfeng looked at Li Wei saying, Xiaowei, I forbid you to see her anymore. So what if she bought a shop? She still isn't good enough for you. You're taking your college entrance exam next June. You can't be distracted now. Once you get into a good university, won't you have your pick of female classmates? As she spoke, Qian Jinfeng began to walk away. Li Wei asked, Mom, where are you going? I'm going out for a stroll, Qian Jinfeng said. You don't worry about me. Stay home and study hard so that you can get into a good university and give me something to be proud of. Li Wei returned to his room with a strange feeling in his heart. He studied so hard yet his academic performance was inferior to that of a business owner. Isn't that a joke? Qian Jinfeng went straight to An Yang's noodle restaurant. The well-decorated restaurant was large. The more Qian Jinfeng looked at it, the more uncomfortable she felt. Why did such a nice shop belong to An Yang? As it happened, An Yang was taking out the trash when Qian Jinfeng arrived at the restaurant. An Yang, I have something to say to you. Qian Jinfeng approached An Yang. Qian Jinfeng pondered for a long time. Why did An Yang open the restaurant here? She was obviously targeting her son, Li Wei. She couldn't let An Yang succeed. An Yang greeted her with a smile. Aunt Qian, please say what you have to say. Qian Jinfeng glanced around. Let's find a quiet place to talk. An Yang said, I'm about to open for business. And Qian, just say it here. Qian Jinfeng nodded, then said, okay, since you're not afraid of making a fool of yourself, he'll say it straight. My Xiaowei is going to college in the future. You are just a petty business owner, not to brag, but you are really not worthy of Xiaowei. So, Aunt is asking you to bother Xiaowei less in the future. As Qian Jinfeng said these words, she held her head high, adopting an air of unattainable arrogance. Her son was a golden phoenix. An Yang was not even worth mentioning as a sparrow. Hearing this, Yang remained calm and smiled. Actually, I think you should tell Li Wei what you just said. Why don't you ask him, who is it that always provokes me first? I'm under a lot of pressure too. Don't just let your son run wild and blame others, okay? Chen Jinfeng was stunned. She didn't expect Yang to have this attitude at all. She thought that after she said these words, Yang would be very eager to please her. After all, in Yang's eyes, she could be her future mother-in-law. Isn't it usual for a daughter-in-law to please her mother-in-law? But Yang? Not only did she not show any eagerness to please, but she also retorted with derision. Did she just call her a dog? Before Chen Jinfeng could say anything, Yang continued, as the saying goes, if the child is not taught, it's the parent's fault. If your son is not ambitious, how can you blame me? Now that Li Wei is not here, could you please tell him to stop looking for me, or else I will have to report him for harassment. Yang is a person of clear love and hatred, and she wouldn't take anyone's anger for no reason. Since Chen Jinfeng deliberately wanted to give her trouble, she certainly would not let Chen Jinfeng off easily. Chen Jinfeng was far from being able to bully her. Chen Jinfeng was trembling with anger. Yet she had no rebuttal. If her son is not ambitious, who's to blame? If she continued to entangle with Yang, she would just be embarrassing herself. Chen Jinfeng is a businesswoman and cares about her face. She knew that she couldn't make a scene at this time. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _4. Chen Jinfeng went back home stewing in her anger. When she returned, she washed an apple and handed it to Li Wei. Mom just went to see Yang. Li Wei was surprised. What did you go to see her for? I told her to stop bothering you. But Yang just scolded me, even saying that you're the one who always seek her out. Xiaowei, can we have some dignity? Listen to Mom, don't go looking for her anymore, okay? Chen Jinfeng embellished the story of what had just happened and told Li Wei. Li Wei remained silent. Chen Jinfeng continued, your job right now is to study hard so that you can get into a good university next year. That Yang will surely come begging to you. At that time, when she does, we can kick her far, far away. That'll be revenge for Mom. After a long silence, Li Wei finally spoke. Mom, did Yang really say that? Chen Jinfeng responded grumpily, I'm your mom. Would I lie to you? Li Wei then said, okay Mom, I understand, I will definitely get into a good university for your sake. Hearing this, Chen Jinfeng responded with satisfaction. Good, good, you are my good son. Lin Pingping was aimlessly wandering the streets when she saw a familiar figure. Is that Hong Bin? Who is that pregnant woman standing behind Hong Bin? After being married into the Hong family for over 10 years, Pingping understood the family well enough to know that the woman wasn't a relative. Moreover, Hong Bin was being particularly affectionate with her, which was not the typical behavior between friends or relatives. Her usually strict parents-in-law were full of smiles, talking happily with the woman. The family of four seemed very cheerful. No wonder they've stopped calling her a chicken that can't lay eggs. Turns out they found a chicken that can lay eggs. Disbelieving, Lin Pingping took a few steps back and couldn't help but crouch down and sob quietly. With the way things had turned out, she couldn't blame anyone else. All she could blame was herself for not being able to give the Hong family a grandson after all these years. Not only had she failed to provide them with a grandson, she wasn't even able to save face in the end. Her life was a total failure. After a long time, Lin Pingping numbly got up, her legs felt like jelly, and she tottered back home in a daze. When she got home and looked at her disfigured face in the mirror, no trace of her former vitality and spirit could be found. What had she been holding on to all these years? Lin Pingping gave a scornful smile at her reflection in the mirror. Just then the door was pushed open and Hong Bin strode in angrily. Lin Pingping, I heard from Yaya that you spent all your bonus last month on your face, is that true? Yes, Lin Pingping nodded. Hearing this, Hong Bin exploded in fury. You know the situation at home. You're spending money recklessly. Do you really think your face can be fixed? I'm telling you, your face is beyond repair. Lin Pingping picked up her bag, put the anti-acne cream from her dressing table into it and walked out. Stop. Where are you going? Lin Pingping turned around, her face was so calm it was almost lifeless. I'm going to my aunt's house. To borrow money. Hearing the last four words, Hong Bin immediately put on a gentle facade. Then you should go quickly. It's getting late, do you want me to accompany you? No need, I can go by myself. Lin Pingping's voice was soft. Hong Bin didn't insist, anyway the Mo family were all snobs looking down on others. Apart from their money they were good for nothing. It was better not to go. When Lin Pingping passed by the living room, her in-laws naturally didn't give her a friendly look. After a long day's work, Yang rode her bicycle home. Just as she was nearing her house, Yang heard a plop. It sounded like something heavy had fallen into the water. From Yang's years of experience, it was clear that someone had fallen into the water. Yang quickly jumped off her bike and ran to the riverbank. In the faint moonlight, sure enough, she saw someone struggling in the water. Without any hesitation, Yang dove into the water, grabbed that person around the waist, and started swimming towards the shore with all her might. Luckily, Yang was a good swimmer, and in no time she had reached the shore. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _5. Yang quickly performed first aid on the man she had brought ashore. Though he was timely saved from the brink of death, he was unconscious. Yang parked the car by the roadside, hoisted the man onto her back and started heading home. Upon seeing her return with a carried load, Tsuehua exclaimed with surprise, "Yang, what happened?" Yang briefly explained the situation. Tsuehua, a sympathetic person herself, immediately said, "Take him to the room quick, then go shower with warm water. I will go bring the car back." Just then, Chingui walked in from outside and after hearing the situation volunteered, "Sister Yang, I'll go bring the car back. You stay home and assist Yang." "Thank you, Sister Chingui." Yang hadn't felt cold while rescuing the person earlier, but now upon making it at home, the bone-chilling cold was seeping in. Yang took a hot bath, and Tsuehua warmed up a bucket of water to wash the unconscious woman on the bed. She then fetched a set of her clothes for the woman to change into. The woman wasn't very attractive. Her hands were fair, but her face was dotted relentlessly with pimples, which made her hard to look at. Oh, she must be truly pitiful to attempt a suicide. Tsuehua sighed continuously. After her bath, Yang checked on the woman and confirming she was in a stable state, she went to cook. To be prepared in case the woman woke up during the night, she made an extra bowl of red date and ginger porridge to drive away the cold. Sure enough, the woman stirred from her unconscious state as the three wrapped up their dinner. Tsuehua asked with concern, "Sister, what made you so distressed that you attempted suicide? Life gives you only one chance, once lost there's no second chance." Chingui added, "Hanging on to life is always better than dying. Share your troubles with us. We might not be capable of much, but as the saying goes, 3 cobblers are better than a zhuge liang. Maybe we could be of some help." The woman hung her head, her face filled with sorrow, and didn't know how to begin. Much later, she finally croaked out in a low voice, "Thank you for saving me, but I really don't want to live anymore." Her husband's betrayal. Her ruined appearance. This life already seemed pointless. By the end of her talk, she was drowned in tears, her throat choked as she recounted her story. "My name is Lin Pingping, I am 30 years old, a local of Beijing." Lin Pingping poured her heart out, leaving no detail of her grievances unsaid. In the past, out of fear of humiliation, she had never shared these with anyone. Now she didn't care about any of that. She just wanted someone to confide in. Listening to her, Quihua's eyes got teary. She seemed to see her own reflection in Lin Pingping. Chingui was also wiping her tears sympathetically and cursing the Hong family. Yang slightly furrowed her brows unnoticed. Be it the present Lin Pingping or the past Tsuehua, they all were victims of the times. Yang crouched down to Lin Pingping's eye level. Her clear eyes were devoid of any disdain or revulsion. Her lush lips parted slowly and she began to speak. "Aunt Lin, you shouldn't have tried to kill yourself. You should live on, go to the court for a divorce and claim what's rightfully yours. His infidelity and his affair resulting in a pregnancy, that's nothing but shameless sleaziness. He not only deserves jail time but also to compensate for the waste of your 10 years. Trying to commit suicide at this point in time is like abdicating to that other woman. It's an extremely irrational move." Lin Pingping raised her head and upon seeing Yang's face, she was taken aback momentarily. Wasn't this young girl, the one she had seen in the noodle restaurant in the morning? After a while she echoed, "Divorce?" In this era, divorced women were shamed. Furthermore, Lin Pingping's old-fashioned upbringing made it challenging for her to envision living as a divorced woman, carrying the scorn associated with it. "Yes," Yang affirmed, "divorce? But, Yang carried on saying, "Aunt Lin, times have changed. Divorced women are everywhere and divorce is not shameful. Everyone has their moments of blindness." Hearing this, Tsuehua agreed fervently, "Sister, Yang is right. Divorce isn't a disgrace. Look at me, I'm living quite well now, right? My past was even worse than yours. Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _6. And Ai Tsuehua was sharing her own story with Lin Pingping. Lin Pingping listened, her face gradually showing an incredibly shocked expression. She thought she was unlucky enough, but she hadn't expected that there were people in this world who were even unluckier than her. If she hadn't heard it with her own ears, she wouldn't have believed that there were people in this world who would abandon their own children. Sister, and Ai Tsuehua said with a sigh, take my advice, get a divorce. You still have a long life ahead of you, why ruin it over a man like this? Lin Pingping was a smart person who got the point quickly. The reason she was confused all these years was because she never showed her scars to others. Everyone thought she was happy, so naturally no one talked to her about these things. Okay sis, I got it, thank you all. And Ai Tsuehua said happily, I'm glad you understand. And Ai Yang brought a bowl of porridge in from outside. Auntie Lin, have some red dates and ginger porridge to warm up first. Thank you. Lin Pingping took the bowl of porridge with both hands and slowly drank it. That night, Lin Pingping and Ai Tsuehua talked until late. She gained a lot of insights from Ai Kuihua's words and felt more and more that she was so foolish in the past. The next morning, Lin Pingping asked to say goodbye. Ai Tsuehua handed her a bottle filled with a brown liquid. Pingping, this is an acne cream made by Yang. She said it can cure the acne on your face. Lin Pingping refused. Sister Hua Yu Yang and Sister Qinggui are all good people. You saved my life. How can I take your stuff now? Just take it, and Ai Tsuehua smiled. Stand up for us women and live a good life. Lin Pingping took the bottle, nodded resolutely and said, thank you Sister Hua. After returning to the urban area, Lin Pingping didn't go back to the Hong family immediately. Instead, she found a classmate who was a lawyer and then visited a private detective agency. After doing all these, she went back to the Hong family as if nothing had happened. Just as she got home, Hong Bin immediately asked her for money. Lin Pingping smiled and said, my aunt said that she would give us a bank book in a few days, don't worry. Hong Bin exclaimed, really? Lin Pingping nodded, of course it's true. Hong Bin said, when you get the bank book you should give it to my mom for safekeeping. Sure, Lin Pingping nodded, I'll listen to you. Because the price of milk tea was 3 times higher than sour plum soup, and Ai Yang originally thought that milk tea wouldn't sell well that day. Unexpectedly, the milk tea was a huge hit. Some people lined up just to buy a cup of milk tea. Over 1,600 cups of milk tea were sold just in one morning. The sales revenue from the milk tea alone was more than 600 yuan for the day. Together with pickled vegetable noodles, the total revenue for the day was more than 1,300 yuan. This was the revenue when milk tea was sold out. If there was enough milk tea, the total could be even higher. Since milk tea was so popular, she had to plan ahead. Ai Yang thought for a while, and during lunch break the next day she went to the trademark office to register a trademark for the milk tea, called New York milk tea. Ai Yang was a person of vision. She never left trouble for herself or loopholes for her competitors when she did things. She had a clear goal. To do big things. To earn big money. The second day after Lin Pingping returned, she finally had time to look at the acne cream Ai Yang gave her. She took off the cap and was stunned when she saw the acne cream. Wasn't this acne cream the same as the one that Wang Meifeng gave her? Lin Pingping took out the little box from her bag, and when she opened it, it smelled and looked the same as what Wang Meifeng gave her. Although she knew that this acne cream couldn't heal the acne on her face, she still applied it evenly on her face. Just try it. She couldn't let down Ai Yang's kindness. The Mo family. Madame Mo held Mo Kishin's hand and pleaded, Old Six, the girl your cousin introduced to you this time is really good, according to the people I asked. Why don't you go see her? Mo Kishin helplessly said, Mom, I'll be honest with you, I already have someone in my heart. If I go, wouldn't it be irresponsible to the girl? Someone? Madame Mo asked curiously, Who? Who is this girl? Do I know her? Who's to blame if one's own son is not promising? Break the siege _7 Mo Kishin said with a smile, Don't worry about that. When the time is right you'll come to know. Upon hearing this, Grandma Mo felt a pang in her heart. This foolish boy, could he still be pining for that Zhao Jingrong? Grandma Mo continued, Even if you have someone, just go take a glance. Just one look, you won't lose anything. Besides, your cousin has already arranged a suitable girl for you. How can you stand her up now? How would that make her look? At this moment, the abrupt sound of a telephone rang in the air. A servant answered it, then said muffling the receiver, Madam, it's a call from your niece. Grandma Mo said, "Tell Ping Ping that the 6th will be there soon." After saying this, Grandma Mo turned to look at Mo Chishan, pushing him out. "Hurry, hurry, pop over for a look and come back. Don't embarrass your cousin." Reluctantly, Mo Chishan had to go outside, mount his bicycle, and head towards the urban area. Lin Pingping had arranged for Mo Chishan to meet a marriage prospect named Huang Ro. Huang Ro, true to her name, was very beautiful and gentle. But upon seeing that Mo Chishan had arrived on a bicycle, her expression instantly darkened. Wasn't it said that Mo Chishan's family was quite wealthy? Why had he come on a shabby bicycle? Was he deliberately testing her? "Number 6, over here," Lin Pingping waved at Mo Chishan. As Pingping had only just started applying acne cream, there was no visible change to her face. "Cousin," Mo Chishan got off his bike. Lin Pingping laughed and said, "Number 6, this is Comrade Huang Ro. Little Ro, this is my cousin Mo Chishan." Huang Ro nodded her head. Lin Pingping continued, "Number 6, why don't you take little Ro for a stroll? I have some work at my office, so he'll be heading back first." Having said that, Lin Pingping turned and left. "Mr. Mo, I heard from Sister Pingping that your family conditions are pretty good?" Huang Ro asked tentatively. Honestly, Mo Chishan was quite handsome, but Huang Ro was a pragmatic person. What did good looks account for? Could they be spent like money or eaten like food? Mo Chishan chuckled, "Miss Huang, if there's a chance that we'll be spending the rest of our lives together, I don't wish to hide anything from you. My name is Mo Chishan, I dropped out of high school, I have 4 older brothers, my parents are both alive, and while my family's conditions are fairly good, that's all to my brother's credit. It has nothing to do with me. So after getting married I'll have to move out. But don't worry, as long as we're diligent, I'm confident we can change our circumstances and live a good life." "Are you saying that you have nothing?" Huang Ro raised an eyebrow. "Yes." Mo Chishan nodded. This was completely different from what Lin Pingping had described. Huang Ro felt like she'd been seriously deceived. "You have nothing, yet you have the audacity to come and meet me for a setup date? What makes you think you, a penniless fool, deserve me?" Huang Ro screamed, "Have you even looked in the mirror? Do you see what kind of person you are? A toad wishing to eat swan meat. Have you no shame? People like you will never get married in this life. You make me sick. Comrade, if you don't like him, fine. But there's no need for personal attacks, right? Just because you don't like him doesn't mean others won't." A gentle voice came from the air. Huang Ro looked up to see an extraordinarily beautiful face. She scoffed, "Who would like this kind of penniless wimp?" Ai Yang walked over, naturally taking Mo Chishan's hand. "I do. Brother Mo, ignore her, let's go." Huang Ro was speechless. "Are you blind? You're interested in this kind of person." Ai Yang paused, looking back at Huang Ro. "We simply have different values. You value money, I value people. So you can't negate me and I can't negate you." "Crazy," Huang Ro muttered, then quickly walked away from there. Once sure that Huang Ro was out of sight, Ai Yang let go of Mo Chishan's hand. "Brother Mo, I'm sorry." Ai Yang, who in her previous life had experienced so many grand scenes, now had a layer of sweat on her palms. Her heartbeat was a little haphazard. Although it was early winter, she felt unexplainably hot. Mo Chishan was no better. His ears were burning red, and his hand remained in a semi-grasping state. It was his first time holding a girl's hand. How could he not be nervous? Trying to remain calm, Mo Chishan said, "It's all right, thank you." Ai Yang chuckled, "No problem, you helped me before, remember? By the way, was that your girlfriend just now?" Mo Chishan said, "No, she was a blind date arranged by my family. I really didn't want to come, but my mom," Mo Chishan, normally such a smooth talker, suddenly didn't know how to explain what had just happened. Ai Yang nodded, "Ah, I see. Yang, how come you're here?" Mo Chishan changed the subject. Ai Yang said, "I happened to be out during lunch, wandering around looking for a factory that could make disposable paper cups. I didn't expect to run into you here." If Ai Yang wanted to expand her bubble tea business, she would need to find a good manufacturer of disposable paper cups. The bubble tea she was currently selling was served in glass cups. If customers wanted to take it home, they had to use their own cups. It's really inconvenient. If she had disposable paper cups, it would be much more convenient. Disposable paper cups actually have been around since the early 20th century, but at a time when transportation was not advanced, they didn't make it to China. Disposable paper cups? Mo Chishan raised his eyebrows slightly. "Do you have a sample I can take a look at?" "Yes, I do." Ai Yang fetched a notebook from her bag and handed it to Mo Chishan. Mo Chishin took the notebook and when he saw the designs on it, his eyes flashed with surprise. Did you draw all of these? Divorce then buy a shop. _1 The design on the notebook was angular, exuding a strong sense of three-dimensionality. Some details were also sketched out very well, with text annotations aside that were clear and distinct. It even surpassed some of the professional designers. Who would believe that such a design was the work of a 17-year-old girl if they hadn't seen it with their own eyes? Moreover, these kinds of paper cups were only circulated abroad. They were almost non-existent domestically, making it hard to imagine how extensive the knowledge and experience of this person were. Mo Chishin had a look of astonishment. Young nodded. I drew it but am not sure if there's a manufacturer who can produce it. How many do you need now? Mo Chishin asked. Young replied, I need about 2,000 a day, which amounts to about 60,000 a month, and the demand may increase. Although the quantity was large, it was actually not that much due to the weightlessness of disposable cups. The difficulty lies in finding the cup manufacturing factory. Young had already approached several factories, all of which stated they did not possess the required technology. Some people even misunderstood the concept of making cups using paper. Mo Chishin observed the design. I have a classmate in this field. He even went abroad for an investigation tour. I'll ask him for you. Really? Young was somewhat surprised. Mo Chishin nodded. Really? Young smiled and said, Thank you so much, Brother Mo. Mo Chishin responded, You're welcome. We are friends, plus you just helped me. Friends. If he could add a girl in front offhand, that would be even better. By the way, Brother Mo, have you ever tasted milk tea? Young asked. No, Mo Chishin responded immediately. Young continued, Then come to my place. I'll make milk tea for you. Sure. The pair arrived at the noodle restaurant. They hadn't started business for the day yet. Wang Jinfeng and Zhou Qingshang were napping inside. They walked in quietly. Young whispered, Brother Mo, you sit here for a while. I'll make the milk tea for you. They were very close to each other. Mo Chishin could even smell the faint fragrance from her, smelling like bamboo but not orchid. It was particularly pleasing. Okay. Young turned and entered the kitchen, opened up the gas stove and started making milk tea. Soon, the kitchen was filled with the aroma of tea. Seeing osmanthus flowers and glutinous rice flour on the side, Young also made a few osmanthus cakes. About half an hour later, she walked out of the kitchen. Young placed the milk tea and osmanthus cake in front of Mo Chishin. Brother Mo, have a taste. Mo Chishin first pinched a piece of faint yellow osmanthus cake. It was soft and glutinous. The cake melted in his mouth, the sweetness was just right, displaying a refreshing texture. It was incredibly delicious. Eating osmanthus cake while sipping the flavorful milk tea, the taste was simply too good. Mo Chishin couldn't resist having a second piece, then a third. Seeing him relish the cakes, Young couldn't resist having a piece herself. Yes, the taste was indeed surprisingly good. A slight curvaceous smile unfurled across Young's lips, her dimples visible. Who knows whose eyes were dazzled by her. The two chatted while sipping their milk tea. Afternoon came quickly. After Mo Chishin left, old Granny Mo couldn't wait any longer to ask him about his blind date. Mo Chishin said, Not good, she didn't like me at all. Didn't like you? Old Granny Mo said incredulously, How is that possible? Even though Mo Chishin's reputation was quite bad among their peers, he was still considered outstanding among ordinary households. Moreover, he was handsome. How couldn't the girl like him? Mo Chishin smiled and said, At first, when she saw me riding a bicycle, her face looked off. Old Granny Mo sighed, You have a car at home but you insist on riding a bicycle. Now see what happened, you can't even find a wife. A wise man should marry a virtuous wife. It's better without such a superficial girl who chooses the rich and snubs the poor. Mo Chishin stood up to massage old Granny Mo's shoulders. Mom, don't introduce me to these people anymore. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing, there's no need to rush. Old Granny Mo went on, Old Six, you told me you have someone in mind this morning, is it true? It's true. Mo Chishin nodded, not trying to hide it. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.